After 19 races, a regular season, a postseason, and countless hours of sweat and tears, our drivers have arrived at the finish line. Homestead, Miami, which has been a traditional host for many season finales in NASCAR, will decide who is crowned champion tonight. And in 175 laps, we'll find out which of our four contenders will leave celebrating as we get ready to watch the season finale for the Sunoco Cup Series. And you'll see it all live here on Podium Esports. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Brian Bauer is our producer tonight, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. DJ, it just feels right to be back at Homestead for the season finale, and it's certainly going to provide some good action. This is a track that's almost seems perfectly set up for this sort of scenario.
Yeah, it really does, Joe. I mean, this mile-and-a-half oval, it's not like other mile-and-a-halves that we go to. Originally built to be a sort of mini Indianapolis, it's changed over the years into two continuous corners on each end of the track, multiple grooves that you can take all the way through the lap. It's going to be absolutely perfect. And I've got a sneaking suspicion that we're going to see our championship four fighting right up for the lead by the end of this race.
Yeah, no doubt about that. In fact, they were looking like they were some of the maiden players based on what we saw in the practice session, which is just warming up, just finishing up now. So it'll certainly be an interesting one, and it's looking to shape up to be a competitive one, as it has been all season long. For the longest time, we had many different winners before suddenly Peel started going on a tear, and it all came down to this here in the postseason with Homestead Miami Speedway wrapping it up for the last one. As I said earlier, 19 races that we have run, and it all comes down to the 20th on this one. And then, of course, we have the playoff bracket, so you can kind of see how things have gone. And DJ, this has been interesting seeing it sort of narrowed down into these championship four.
Yeah, it really and truly has, Joe. And you look there, one of the known names that I'm most surprised by and most pleased by to see in this championship four, that's Colin Forrester, a rookie coming in here, took his first win of the season last time out at Michigan to get his way on into the championship. Absolutely incredible run there for him. But you've also got to talk about Lawson Peel, your reigning champion. Reedy's been super strong this year, as has Stempian. It's a fantastic group of four.
Exactly, and we're actually going to have a bit of a chat with them. As first up, we have Austin Reedy ready to talk to us about how he's feeling coming into this. The driver of the 96, Austin, you're coming in, I'd say almost a bit of an underdog if you just look at the numbers, but how do you feel about that assessment? Do you feel like you could be one of the strongest in contention for the championship?
Yeah, I think so. I think we got to at least try to win the race. It's going to be probably the way to do it tonight, and we kind of struggled with that all year. But all year we were so strong with stage points and just decent finishes. So if we can just have a nice clean race and just be there at the end, I think we'll have a good shot.
Well, it does look like you've been coming good at the end. You finally got your first win back at Richmond. Do you feel like that helped you kind of get the momentum going for tonight?
Yeah, of course. Richmond the win, and then the top three. Michigan always help with good momentum and getting a good mindset for the next race, and especially it's being the championship race. Just got to go in. Nothing matters except for beating the other three tonight.
Well, and knowing that, then, which of the other three do you feel like is your biggest threat that you're mostly going to be focusing on trying to stay ahead of?
Lawson is definitely number one, I think. I know he really likes this track a lot, but you always have to worry about Steven and Colin too. Steven's so good on tire saving, and Colin, even being his rookie year, he's up front, top five every single race. So just got to make sure we take care of our own equipment and just be there.
Well, best of luck, Austin, and hopefully we'll be chatting with you after the race.
All right, thank you, man.
Austin Reedy for Fast Banana Racing is going to be followed up, of course, by that rookie. DJ is caught up with Forrester.
I have indeed another Fast Banana Racing driver. And Colin, you're kind of the anomaly here, coming in as a rookie. Do you feel a little bit more pressure as a rookie coming in, or is it all just business as usual?
Nah, it's definitely business as usual. I mean, it's not the first championship race I've been in, but hopefully it's not the last. But definitely gonna try my hardest tonight, and we're gonna see if we have what it takes. And I really do believe that I have what it takes, but definitely going to need some luck and definitely going to need to be fast, and it's going to be a long race and just have to stay steady.
Well, is that the key here tonight? Is it just consistency in getting yourself to the end and setting yourself up for a maybe 5-10 lap shootout to the end, or are there some other strategies coming into play?
I mean, you definitely always have in the back of your mind, like if caution comes out 10, 15, 5 to go around there, what you're going to do. Obviously, most of the field's probably going to take tires just because this track usually wears tires pretty hard. But, I mean, honestly, I think we're going to have some green flag runs in the third stage. Obviously, I know Lawson's fast on the long runs here, but I really do think I can beat him. I know he's super good, but I want to beat the best, and that's only one way to do that. It's on the long run, and I know he's super good here, so I'm gonna try.
Well, you're going to try hard. One last question for you. Obviously, taking your first win at Michigan last time out, is that momentum help you coming into this final round?
I would definitely say it's good momentum. Obviously, you know, with the win last week, it obviously just builds my confidence for this week, because now I know that I can win in this series. So definitely gives me a lot of momentum. Definitely gives me that feeling of knowing I can win, and that I've been proven to win now, especially my rookie season. I mean, I've ran up front for most of the races this season. Just haven't had the final touches, but last week I got that final touch, and we're gonna try and get here tonight.
All right, well, Colin, we'll let you get to the practice action out on the track. Thank you so much, and good luck from all of us up here in the booth.
All right, appreciate it, man.
All right, Joe, that is Colin Forrester, driver of the number 31 Fast Banana Racing Machine, and it looks like you are up with our reigning champion, Lawson Peel.
Yep, current reigning champion, as you said, also driver with the most wins this season, most wins ever in the championship. Lawson, do those kinds of things weigh on your shoulders at all? Do you feel added pressure that you kind of have to perform because of that?
Maybe a little bit, but you know, I try not to let myself feel that way. You know, the first win of the year is always the hardest to get. After that, sometimes things just kind of fall into place. So I'd say that's certainly been the story of my first 2 seasons.
This track offers so many ways to tackle the race and the racing line. Do you have a plan going in? Do you feel like the car runs a certain way better, or are you just staying open to whatever?
I don't know if I have an exact plan. I have an idea of what I want to do. I'm concerned about it getting loose. You know, I want to have long green flag runs, but not if it's getting loose on me. The good thing is you got options. You have options what gear you want to run, if you want to shift. You have options when it comes to your lane choice or just how you drive that corner, you know. So I like having that. Just makes me feel like I can find a way, whether it's, you know, finding another line or just you know, driving the corner a little bit different than the person you're racing. Gives you options to kind of work the track, make a pass happen. So that's what I really love about this track.
You've become known as sort of a Kimi Räikkönen of the series, being very unflappable. It's hard to see you flustered anytime you're on camera. If you manage to win the championship, are we going to get a smile out of you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know, I just feel like that's just part of, as I get the wall here, that's just part of my approach to everything. You know, I really tend to make mistakes when I let my emotions get to me. This is a easy track to just overdrive a corner, especially on new tires, cold tires. When you're pushing on a restart, you can really just slide right up the track in these corners. And so I feel like just always staying calm, not getting too excited, not getting frustrated, always helps me just kind of stay smooth, stay in a rhythm, and do a good job.
Well, with this warm night, we hope you stay cool all race through, and best of luck.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the AC cranking, I promise you. Appreciate it.
No doubt. That was Lawson Peel, who is currently sitting 6th in the timings, but up next, last of our 4, DJ has caught up with Steven Stempian.
I have indeed. Steven sitting on top of the practice charts here at this point. That's got to be a pretty good omen, a pretty good forebearer for you.
I hope so. You know, just got lucky and came in early and put my labs in, but I know the session's resetting once we go qualifying, so I guess that might be a good omen. We'll see.
Well, omens aside, what's it going to take for you to win here tonight? What is your strategy looking like?
You know, I know I got 3 other really good competitors out there. 3 guys that I have a lot of respect for. And I know them. They are going to be giving it their all. And, I just don't got to leave anything in the tank. I got to empty out the tank tonight and try everything I can and hopefully get this thing, ahead of those 3 or a win, obviously, to get a championship. That would be pretty nice. But, I'm locked in. I've put in a lot of time this week here, and I got an idea what the car is going to look like on a long run and a short run. So hoping we get a mix of both.
Well, in terms of those other competitors around you, I have to ask you, how much are you going to be keeping an eye on where they are, and how much are you going to be just running your own race?
Honestly, I hope we're all running side by side against each other. I'm not going to pay much attention to where they are. I'm just going to run my race. You get too caught up in what anybody else is doing. You just got to run your own race and, stay locked in. But I have a pretty good feeling we're probably going to be neck and neck tonight, all of us. I know Lawson's really good here, and I finished second to him last season here, so hopefully we put on a good show for you guys. I'm hoping.
Well, I've got no doubt of that, Stephen. We'll let you get back here and into qualifying, which is about a minute and a half away, and best of luck out there to you from all of us in the booth.
DJ, I appreciate it. Let's go 81, huh?
There you go. Stephen Stempian, driver of the number 81 for Zero G Motorsports. Joe, it sounds like all 4 of our championship contenders, they're all fired up and ready.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less, but we're almost fired up and ready for the race itself. First, let's take a look at where we're taking part here. If you head all the way south, down to the tip of Florida, you get to Homestead Miami Speedway. And as you heard DJ talk about, this is a track that seen a lot of changes, but DJ, it certainly looks like it is set and ready to go for tonight.
Yeah, it certainly is. And a night race is what we're going to be running around here, so that'll add a little bit of intrigue and mystery to it. 18 to 20 degrees, progressive banking in the corners. That means you can run a little bit of a better high line around here as they go. And there you can see it, 1.5 miles, so a little bit less than what you came to expect at Michigan last time out. Pit speed at about 45 miles an hour in an asphalt surface, but very abrasive asphalt surface as a result of all of the speed you're carrying around here.
Indeed. As for the race itself, 175 laps tonight, so a little over 260 miles or 420 kilometers. Now, as always, it'll be broken up into stages, 50, 50, and 75. That last one, probably the one everybody is going to be looking at and trying to prepare for, set themselves up for the finish. If we get a yellow late in the race and we aren't able to finish under green, it will go to a green-white checkers and we'll have 3 tries at it. Most critically, though, there are no fast repairs. So those 4 drivers that we just talked to all have to watch out for their equipment. And like I said, try to get to the end of the race over everything else. And it is a fixed setup, so there's no trying to find speed, trying to do some tricks with that setup. It is all down to the driver, especially when it comes to qualifying, which is just starting right now. We've reset. They've gotten the warm-up in those nighttime conditions. Now they have to come back into the sun where it's heated things up just a little bit more. Not too hot, though, thankfully, at only 82 Fahrenheit on the track. And they have to get themselves track position, DJ.
Yeah, and track position is going to be semi-crucial around here, Joe. It's not going to be the absolute end-all and be-all. It's not like we're necessarily running at a place like Richmond where it is a little bit more important. You're going to be able to make moves up and down through the field, multiple grooves around this circuit, as I talked about. But the easiest way to avoid incidents, to avoid calamity, and to put yourself in the best position as possible, that's qualifying up front.
Yep, might as well try and start up at the top and stay out of trouble. Like I said, you got to get that car to the last bit of the race first, and then from there you can start worrying about trying to take that win as long as you've got enough left underneath you. Austin Reedy here, going to get the car spooled up around the outside. They get 2 flying laps for their qualifying, so this is his out lap right now, and he'll cross the line starting this first flyer. Looks like he's going to run pretty close to the bottom, right down to the bottom, actually.
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised by that. I would think that for a lot of these drivers, the second lap is going to be the money lap, and you're going to want to try and run a little bit of a higher line on that first flyer to keep up your momentum as much as possible. But clearly here, Reedy really taking it down here on this second lap. And that's where he's going to go at this point. Really diving it down. He's going to be able to keep it off the wall just barely.
A little higher off that bottom line that time. And it looks like a 32.8. So excuse me, that was his second lap right there. So apologies, that was his first flyer. So he was waiting to duck to the bottom. And he is on the provisional pole. Miranda, who's been quick all season but not part of the top 4, is on the outside of that front row. But then we get to Stempian, who has put himself into second. Oh, make that fourth because Forrester just took the pole away.
Great run there by Colin Forrester, but Stempian on the second lap here at this point. Let's see what the number 81 has got in the bag. He's going to come across the line up to P2.
All right, so 3 of our top of our 4 contenders are in the top 4. Where is our 4th one, actually? Got to try and find him here as we still have a few more drivers that need to qualify. Harlow now jumps up next to Colin Forrester. It's tight up there. It is currently 0.146 of a second for the top 4. Here is Logan Sturgeon in the meantime, who has not set a time yet.
Yeah, he's still waiting, and it looks like here, based off this approach, that this is going to be the opening lap here for Sturgeon, so no problems there on the first lap necessarily to delete the time. Sturgeon's going to come across the line right now. Let's see where Logan's going to provisionally slot in. That'll be 18th. Plenty of room to make up here, though, in this second lap.
They get 10 minutes to qualify, or 2 laps, whichever comes first. Then qualifying is over for them. And it's Lawson Peel who's the last one remaining. He has plenty of time to get out there if he wants to, but so far he has not stepped foot on the track. So we'll see what his MO is today, if he wants to maybe start from the back or if he's going to try and set a time. Sturgeon's second lap around jumps him up to 8th. Great second lap for the 26 car.
Yeah, very, very good lap for Sturgeon. A top 10 here is going to be definitely a place that I think is going to be crucial as we ride on board with Zach Wilson. We've got to keep in mind something else here. You saw that glare off of the sun coming in. That can really affect you, Joe, when you're trying to put that throttle down a little bit more. You can get blinded a little bit by it.
Hopefully won't last too long, since that's going to start setting early in the race here. And then they'll be mostly in nighttime racing for the remainder of it. But Zach Wilson on the second time around. First lap was a 12th place lap there with a 33.075. So that bodes well if he can keep that pace up and improve. Let's see if he can jump up to the top 10. 33.067 just barely improves. He does not change positions.
All right, a little bit surprised by that, I have to say there. Did not see that second lap move on up. We're going to take a look back here with Bill Schoonover right now in the number 9 machine. Schoonover yet to put a lap down, working on his first one here as we're about halfway through this qualifying session.
Still seeing Charles Phelps hopping out there, and like you said, about halfway, so there is still plenty of time for these drivers to try and set a lap if they do want to put one on the board. Some try and wait for the track to cool just a little bit to get every little ounce of speed they can. 33.6 for the first lap of the number 9 machine. Not terribly impressive. Here's Phelps in the meantime. Also, I think this is going to be his first lap.
I think it is as well, as Chuck's going to cross over the line there indeed, and you can see his hand reaching down there. That tells me that he has got a manual shifter on the car, very similar to the run that they have here in an actual Cup car. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him make a little bit of a pop here. Yep, up a gear, and then he's going to probably bring it down here again into 4th gear, coming down through the corner. He's using that engine braking to really set everything up. I like that.
Schoonover moves to 17th on his second lap. Here's Phelps for his first timed lap, so wasn't quite fully around last time. 33.352. It's going to put him in 21st. Does look like Warren Kyle Keith getting out there, Dustin Reeves, Travis Stevens, and Garrett Brown all heading onto the track late in the session. There is Warren Kyle Keith, who has not set his first time yet in that number 24, flying down the backstretch.
Yeah, working his way around here at this point, and I think for a lot of these drivers that were opting to take a later run, they were hoping that the track was going to cool just a little bit. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's happening. It's going to stay at about 82 degrees Fahrenheit here as Keith crosses over the line.
33.3. Phelps's second lap did not improve, so he stays put down in 22nd. Keith goes in front of him. Dustin Reeves puts it up into 23rd. So next driver that we're going to look at, James Kunkel here, has a very special livery. Sadly, his mother passed away yesterday, so he has put together a very special livery in honor of her. I can only imagine how difficult it is trying to set all that aside and focus on racing right now, but maybe this is going to help in the healing process as he's just starting that first flyer in the number 3 right now.
Yeah, and our condolences, obviously, from everyone here at Podium Esports to the entire Kunkel family there as we now watch him work his way down the backstretch right now. First lap here in the books, keeping the car up high to try to maximize that momentum like we talked about.
Indeed, although very, very high. I think he kept it off of the wall, but only just barely. You got to make sure you do not scrape that. It's not just the speed you need to worry about. In iRacing, if you just brush the wall, even if it's a 0x, that will delete the lap. Kunkel goes into 26th spot. Now we've got Lawson Peel, who goes up to 6th on his first lap. That is a sign that this car is hooked up and rolling. Can he go up to the top spot on the second one?
Ooh, but he hits the wall. He hits the wall coming out of turn 2. You could see the look of disappointment there on Lawson's face. He's going to have to bring it down into pit lane.
Well, this will mean that the top 4 are spread across the top 6. Lawson Peel, you could tell, was very disappointed in himself on that one. Ray Rogers, meanwhile, in the number 11, appropriately in 11th place, also looking pretty fast on that first time around. What's this second lap got? I am showing him tracking 2/10 to the good, 32.858. That will bump him ahead of both Reedy and Peel and into 5th.
That's a very impressive run there for Ray Rogers. Still waiting for 4 drivers here at this point to put in a time, including the driver of the number 46, Joseph Mahar. And about a minute left here on the clock, so the likes of Knighton, Fulham, and Banks better get out there, otherwise they're going to be starting tail end Charlie on the field.
Yeah, I think they need to get out right now. In fact, they'd only get 1 lap in, considering it is over half a minute to circulate. So I don't think they're going to be setting a time. Mahar should be the last one able to improve here. And I don't know that he will have enough to get the second one out because it's down to 40 seconds left on the clock. If he crosses the line, he's got to have at least 33 seconds left. He gets there. And no, I don't think he's going to be able to complete this second lap. 33.5 for his first one puts him well down the order.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good run there for Mahar. Let's see if he's got anything else here, if he's going to be able to beat the clock on his way around. It's going to be very, very tight. I think he's just going to be out of time.
Yeah, I think he was thinking he was going to time it right at the very end, but may have cut it too close here. So, yep, the clock ticks down to 0, and that means it's time for the grid. Colin Forrester puts it on the pole. Is that a sign that he's maybe in for the win today? Ross Harlow will start next to him with our next championship contender, Stempian, starting from 3rd. It is Travis Stevens in the 4th position, followed by Ray Rogers in P5. He'll be flanked by Austin Reedy. And then the last of our championship contenders, shockingly, is Lawson Peel, starting from 7th, having messed up his second lap. Mario Miranda will be in P8. It'll be Jesse Whittington on the inside of row 5. Kip Peasley rounds out your top 10.
In 11th place, it's Logan Sturgeon, followed by Gary Sexton there to the outside of row 6. As we move back into row 7, it's Richard Swavely and another Fast Banana Racing driver, Curtis Kelly, in the number 71. Moving back into row 8 on the inside, it'll be Zach Wilson, and then Dakota Curtis for 0G will be to his outside. Back in row 9, it's Wyatt Brackett and Judd Danielson, and then moving back into the back of the top 20, Chris Progar and Justin Erb round out that top 20.
Bill Schoonover starts 21st, followed by Aaron Adcock. Then on the next row, you've got Warren Kyle Keith. I think a little bit out of position there and down in 23rd. see if he can climb through the field. Alex Muscarella will start from 24th with Garrett Brown in the 25th spot. Then you've got James Kunkel starting in P26. Sean Callist will begin from 27th today, followed by Charles Phelps in the 28th spot. Then it's Dustin Reeves, 29th, and Joseph Mahar, 30th. Just a couple more with Parker Bland being the last one able to set a time in 31st. Banks, Knighton, and Fulham will round out your 34-car field with them not having set a time and being gridded at the back as we take off on our lone pace lap. And already they are on the backstretch. I can only imagine, DJ, the antsiness that some of those championship contenders are starting to feel inside the cockpit.
Yeah, there's a lot of nerves here at this point, and for these drivers, they've just got to put it out of their mind. They cannot be thinking about the championship here in the opening laps. They just need to get themselves into a position, hopefully get these cars spaced out single file, and go from there.
They work their way around and through turns 3 and 4. The pace car is getting ready to peel away. Forrester knows it's not this first lap that's going to decide it for him. It's the entire race. But as he waits for the green flag to fly, there it is. He gets on the loud pedal in that number 31, but it's not the best of jumps as Harlow round the outside gets great speed, but they're not fully up to tilt yet. Will that outside line pay dividends?
Well, it doesn't look like it's paying enough here through the middle of turn 1 and 2. Stempien actually gave a little bit of a bump there to Colin Forrester, kind of giving him the go-ahead, and it looks like that bump in the run on the low side is going to help out Forrester. He's up into the lead and by about a car length and a half.
Like what I'm seeing, this is a nice, calm start. There's many drivers out here that know that this is bigger than just their own race. They may want to take the final win, but they can't risk doing something silly and ruining the race for a potential championship contender as they fly down into 1 and 2 once again. Stempien's on the inside of the 5 of Harlow, and he's going to take that second place away.
All right, so already we've got 2 of our championship 4 up at the front of the field here at this point. Lawson Peel holding position back down in 7th place here at the moment, and it looks like Reedy is up 1 into 5th.
Already seen certain cars fan out and go way up high where there is steeper banking. Wonder, DJ, if already some of the drivers thinking long term, maybe just holding on to the tires some as long as they can.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of the advantages of running a little bit higher. You're able to take a less aggressive line through the corner. You're not going to have to turn on the car nearly as much, and that'll save that bits of rubber from scraping across the surface as you try to make it in. We ride on board with Lawson Peel right now. Little bit of a Miami traffic jam in front of him with Ray Rogers and Austin Reedy, but he's going to hold firm and just be consistent, as he talked about earlier on in the broadcast.
Holding the bottom line as well, so he's not aiming to the top side, at least for now. But in 1 and 2, he definitely goes way up high, likes it through there. Will that shoot him off the corners? The 96 drifts up in front of him, and Lawson's got no place to go. Once again, boxed in.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of the problems here that Lawson's going to have starting a little bit farther back in the field. We run up with Jesse Whittington, who's in the same position. Ooh, big blink there out of the 96 of Austin Reedy. That's one of your championship hopefuls. That is not what he wants to have happening here. That's as a result of a little bit of a shoddy internet connection.
It's the last thing that he needs right now. If he disappears and loses the championship due to internet, that is just going to be an absolute gut punch. As we follow underneath the 99 of Miranda. Good shot off the corner there from Mario as he stretches ahead. And a lot of shuffling of positions here, even up at the front. Not seen, I wouldn't say it's aggressive driving, but it doesn't look like anybody's too concerned about holding on to track position.
No, they're fighting here at this point. It's not full elbows out. They're keeping it contained relatively well, but they're not backing down here, I'll tell you that. As there we see a big swing wide there for the 99 machine. That's Mario Miranda working the high side, trying to see what he is able to do. Also seeing that out of Ross Harlow, just trying to take any sort of opportunity that he can to find some good, clean air on this track.
4 of the top 5 are our championship 4. So Ross Harlow's the odd man out in this one, sitting in the 3rd position. It is already starting to siphon towards these top runners as you can see them firing off that top line. And with the sun dipping behind a couple clouds, it gets darker out on the track. It'll be a bit early, perhaps cooling it down quicker.
Yeah, perhaps just cooling it down a little bit. Still holding at about 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is what you got to worry about. Right on board with Travis Stevens right now. It's that sort of reverse fanning out, the coming together that we're going to see at the end of these at the end of these corners when everybody kind of goes into a line up on the higher side. You got to make sure you're clear or arrest your momentum as you drive around.
So still we're seeing plenty of side-by-side racing, although it's getting a little bit more single file up at the front. Looking back off of Stempien, our leader, he's got Forrester behind him, and Forrester was our pole sitter, so quick over a single lap, but Stempien decided he wanted to be the one to get the clear air early.
Yeah, and I think that's a good call here for Stempien. He gets a little bit of a how you doing there from behind. He's going to have to hold on to that, make sure nothing bad happens to him, but he's going to have to try to hold on to everything at the moment. And I think he just wanted to get some clear air, keep out ahead of everybody, and make sure that he was in the best position possible.
Two contrasting drivers here, as we've got Forrester hailing right here from Florida, whereas Stempien is way up on the other side of the East Coast, up from New England. We'll see if this home win will mean something extra special for Forrester, or if he's more worried about the championship over everything else. I suspect it is the latter. And they come down into turn one. These two actually starting to run away a little bit. Look at Harlow back there. We only get flashes of him in the screen now.
Yeah, the gap's about 0.7 of a second here as they run, so plenty of a closer area to try to hold on to here at this point. Now a little bit of a look to the inside there. We ride on board with Mario Miranda, one of the favorites earlier on in the year. Not necessarily looking like he is obviously in the best position here later on in the season. Running in 6th right now. Up the front of the field, though, Forrester making a challenge.
Yeah, if you had asked me to pick out drivers that would be in the Final Four, I think Miranda probably would have been on my list. And I wonder if that's going to be extra motivation for him today to make up for what had to be a disappointing Final 8, where he fell out of the order. And as we get a run up the inside, Forrester is going to take the lead away from Stempien, dissatisfied riding behind that number 81.
Yeah, and so I think there at this point we could be seeing a little bit of leapfrog playing with these two drivers, just trying to hold on a little bit, see if they're able to maybe use each other's draft to push them way up through the field, and see if that's going to be able to help them out a little bit. We take a little bit of a look on back here, riding on board with Kip Easley riding in 10th place right now, just trying to hold on here to this front group.
Yeah, there you see some of that dicing as drivers get launches off the corner and try to use that speed, but now down to the inside. That's Ray Rogers there in the 11. Usually, traditionally at this track, the high line is a lot better off the exits, and there's a good example. As up to his outside, the 48 of Muscarella is going to be able to once again pull slightly ahead.
Yeah, going to be able to keep that line running a little bit better here at this point, so that's exactly what he wants to be able to keep having happen. Let's see, though, what they're going to be able to do. Some more internet issues look like it's popping up, though.
Keep easily having a bit of a blink there, but thankfully I haven't seen much of that from him. I think he'll be okay. 48 of Muscarella looks like he's going to be fully past and beyond Ray Rogers now and solidifies that 8th position. Let's see if he can go after Miranda now.
All right, Miranda trying to hold on here at this point. We're going to jump back a little bit more. Richard Swavely currently in 13th position, up 2 on the day. Make that 14th now as he runs. He's in a little bit of a close battle there with Curtis Kelly, or in Travis Stevens, excuse me.
Ooh, another swap for the lead. Stempien goes back ahead of Forrester once again. So these two kind of switching back around 1-2. Wonder if they're working together to continue to pull away from Harlow a bit.
Yeah, I think that's the strategy. And Joe, if that is the intended strategy here at this point, it's working out in spades right now. They've got a gap of 1 second, and that is crucially going to be just on the edge, just on the precipice of getting out of that effective draft range and leaving Ross Harlow kind of in the dust.
Don't forget, first goal here is to get to lap 50 as we get some more side-by-side racing down here. This is coming off of turn 3 on the main straight once again. So I think that is the 5 down on the inside there. Having a nice little, or excuse me, on the outside with the 12 to his inside. That is Ross Harlow and Lawson Peel. Peel up into the top 3. Can he chase down the top 2 now?
Well, that's going to be the question here. I've got to think here for Lawson. He may want to play a little bit of that same leapfrog game that we see Stempien and Forrester doing. If they're able to play nice together, use each other to kind of jump their way up through the field, they've already been able to bring that gap down by about 1/10 of a second or so. Let's see if they can continue to do it.
The way that those 2 frames were cut, it was very strange. It almost looked like the seat of Peel continues on the frame, and he's sort of half sitting behind there. That's just really weird coincidence. But anyways, besides my amusement, it does look like the 12 is pretty quick. He's already cut it down about 1/10 on the top 2, and is going to try and chase them down. Look at way up high, though. Muscarella. Now, this is the man that is really on the move. 18 positions gained, and we're only on lap 18.
Yeah, that's really impressive here at this point. That tells me the Muscarella's car is absolutely hooked up, and Alex is pushing his way forward. Probably qualified a little bit out of position. Didn't necessarily feel like that was indicative of just how quick they were, and now they're starting to show that speed.
Ooh, and it sounds like the 94 of Whittington had a little scrape with the wall. We saw a few drivers doing that a little bit earlier, and actually, he had a real moment. Both he scraped the wall and Miranda got loose coming off of turn 2 at the exact same time. And I think they were mostly unrelated to one another, but that was a very strange coincidence of itself.
Yeah, I think that was just a little bit of a strange incident. There you can see the car kind of snap. Whoa! And Miranda just losing it from down on the track. I'm not really sure what caused that for the 99, to be completely honest.
Not what I would expect, only 18, 19 laps in here, because I would have thought that the tires would not wear out this quickly. Maybe they are. Maybe they're going to be a bigger talking point than I anticipated.
Maybe they will indeed. I mean, we heard some of the drivers talking about how they were going to have to hold on to it as much as possible and try to conserve those tires. But clearly here at this point, they're starting to wear even faster than I thought they would.
Watching from Wilson's perspective, Rogers just in front of him. Way up to the high side is Jesse Whittington. Does look like he's still a little down on momentum. And he's fighting with Miranda side by side up there. See if these two can catch up to them. Getting close to the halfway mark of this first stage. Oh, and another scrape to the wall there for Whittington.
That's not going to do well. One little hit like that, you can kind of get away with, Joe, but you get into 2, 3 bonks like that, you're going to find yourself in real trouble.
I mean, you talked about it earlier. This is such a fast track. I have to imagine damaging any of the aero is probably going to just hurt you in terms of straight line speed.
Yeah, bingo. If you get into a little bit of aerodynamic problem around here, it's going to be a big, big detriment. You're going to find yourself rolling back down through the field. Whittington, though, continuing to run high, likes that high lane, and he's going to keep doing it there. He's going to be able to keep himself ahead of Ray Rogers here at the moment. So good on Jesse. Doesn't look like that car is actually having that much damage.
Yeah, I guess he just needs to maybe give it a little bit more buffer on that outside line, somewhat ahead of him. Certainly not giving it much buffer. That is Alex Muscarella, and he is just ahead of Mario Miranda in that P6 right now. By the way, Peel lost that 3rd position back to Reedy and has not since gained on the top drivers, so not much change there. In fact, I think we're riding on board with Peel now.
I think we are as well here at this point. Peel just holding on 4th place position. That gap starting to grow between Forrester and Reedy. It's sort of holding at about, let's call it 1.1 seconds. So not perfect there for these drivers, but they're keeping it under control, and that's the crucial thing.
A little blink from Reedy that I got on my screen there, so things continuing to cause a little bit of consternation for the number 12. Sure, he wouldn't be too greatly worried, but at least we'll have to make a mental note on that if they start having to race a little closer farther along in the event. Ross Harlow still holding on in that 5th spot behind them there. You can see that number 5 right now as we hop on board with Ross Harlow. All along the front stretch, we're seeing less and less of that sun is getting close to going below the horizon.
Yes, it certainly is. So it's almost at the point here as they run. We're going to get into that situation where that track temperature is going to start to fall a little bit. It's actually growing right now at this point. It's raising. It's up to 83 degrees Fahrenheit.
I'm sure the car is pounding around on the track continuously is certainly helping with raise that temperature. As we come off of turn 4, once again, Stympian leading Forrester, but now by a little bit more of a margin. Look at that. It's extended to half a second between the pair of them. Stympian may be turning up the wick a little bit, or is Forrester preserving his stuff?
Could be a little bit of column A, could be a little bit of column B here, Joe. It could be just a mix of the two. Stympian, though, going to be happy to try to pull away here at this point. Remember, ultimately, at the end of the day, stage point's not really going to matter here for these drivers, but really and truly, if you're able to assert dominance, that's the good run.
Good point. So Stympian with a psychological advantage now. Forrester maybe just biding his time, waiting to see for the race to come to him. As we now are 27 laps into this season finale of the Sunoco Cup Series. And the drivers have been behaving so far. Still haven't had a single yellow. And all 34 cars that started this race are still running. It hasn't been without some scares. We've seen a couple scrapes of the wall, but no serious incidents yet.
No major incidents, so that should be good solace here for these drivers to be able to take away from that they are going to be able to be in that position. Looks like Whittington there a little farther back in the field going to take a little bit of a poke. Drivers still being a little bit aggressive, still trying to push their way forward as much as possible. Let's see what they're able to do, though, as we work on lap 28.
Whittington giving up that high line now that Muscarella is running that. Now he slips up behind him into the draft, but let's see if he stays there. Yes, both of them going to continue to ride that rim up and around the outside of the corner, as down below them the 11 of Ray Rogers gives a watch, trying maybe just a bit of a middle line, and then behind them it is Zach Wilson in the number 51 also giving chase. This is essentially all the battle for 7th place.
Yeah, this is what it is. Wilson doing a good job here. He's not up nearly as much as some of the massive gains that we've seen from the likes of Muscarella, but up 5 on the day, that's nothing to shake a stick at, and I've got to think he's pretty pleased with his running here at this point.
Based on racing that I've seen at this track before, DJ, this strikes me as very much a wait-and-see moment for a lot of these drivers. This doesn't feel frantic. This doesn't feel anxious. It looks like this is kind of a calm before the storm, knowing that there's a long ways to go.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that one, Joe. This is very much a just wait and see kind of situation. Hold out, don't be too aggressive, don't throw it all away here early, just hold it out. 175 laps is a very, very long way to make it around a 1.5-mile oval, and you can't win it all in the first corner, but you certainly can lose it.
You can certainly lose speed by scraping the wall. Muscarella does it again in that 48, just clipping the outside through 3 and 4. But it didn't slow him down enough. He's still in that position. Underneath him, though, does look like Whittington's going to try and duck under and see if he can take some speed. Cutting back. Whoa, cutting way too far back. There goes the 48. Loses control. Keeps it out of the wall. And he's going to get back to the track. He wanted to do the over-under there. And, you know, I almost feel like that cut in the wall saved him there.
Yeah, I think it did as well. The tail of the car kind of wanted to step out a little bit on him and wanted to be able to bring it out. And because that break in the wall was there, he didn't make contact with the inside safer barrier. Let's ride on board here. Let's watch his hands, because this was remarkable car control.
This is the second time we've seen a car do that. Miranda earlier on was the one that nearly lost control of the car, I believe. And woo, it got awful loose. Wow, that was full lock just about. And yeah, I think if that cut in the wall was not there, he would have had at least a little bit of contact with the safer barrier.
Yeah, I think a little bit of contact there, to say the least, he would have run into there at that point. So certainly very, very lucky to be able to hold on to that there, and he's going to keep on running around here at this point. He is going to fall back down through the order. Those tires are probably going to be a little bit shot, but still 12th place after a run like that, it's not too bad.
By the way, I'm looking over at Stympian as we watch Curtis Kelly here. Down 13th, battling for that P12. Stympian's now 0.7 of a second ahead of Forrester. He's starting to run away.
Interesting. The plot thickens here at this point as they continue to work their way around. Let's see if they're going to be able to do anything here. I mean, Stempien 7/10 of a second. Now, that's not out of draft range, but it is certainly a good run here for him, and I'm going to be very curious to see if he's going to be able to keep that up.
Yeah, Peel's still at about 1.6 seconds back from the lead right now. Not out of it by any stretch. Still in the top 4. I gotta wonder what he's thinking, seeing Stempien start to kind of pull away up at the front. Is he pondering whether or not that's legitimate, or if everybody else is just managing their stuff as we come back to the midfield once again on the battle down into turn 1 between Stevens and Erb. This is for 22nd position. Leading the pair of them is Dakota Curtis in the number 10.
Yeah, he's going to be leading the way here as we look out the back there of Curtis's machine, just trying to see if there's going to be anything ready to play for them. Looks like that number 2 machine going to take a pretty big dive into the corner. Steven's going to have to back it up a little bit, and that's going to go back to the 20.
Zook gets a good run, but I don't think he's got any place to take it. With Erb down there at the bottom, he's very much boxed in. Still, and as he tries to go on the high side, he gives a little hello to Curtis, who did not enter the corner nearly as fast as I think he anticipated.
No, I don't think so either. So that's certainly going to be a little bit of a heart-in-mouth moment, I think, for him. And lucky he's able to hold on to the car.
Wow, Peel has now caught Forrester, though. He jumps up a position and is now fighting for P2. He's got Austin Reedy down to his bottom side still, so has not left him in the dust. But now that he's jumped up into the top 3, making short work out of chasing down the 31, who is about just over a second behind Stempien, continues to lose bit by bit. And I think Miranda may have just had a problem. I saw him drop a lot of spots.
Yeah, I'm not sure there what happened to Mario necessarily, but he is going to fall down through the order here. So we'll have to try to get up and figure out exactly what happened to him.
Down to the inside goes the 12 of Peel. Miranda, by the way, did get loose once again off of turn 2. So that seems to be a real trip-up point. And he had an even bigger save than what we saw just moments ago. As other drivers have likewise been finding out that the rear seems to be giving way somewhat as they exit off the first pair of corners.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have to hold on here as we continue to go farther and farther into this run. It's not going to be the easiest thing to be able to keep these cars underneath you. Remember, high degradation around this circuit. That is one of the big notes that we've been given from these drivers. And we're starting to see it here off of these corners.
I think there was a little scrape of the wall for the 12, but Peel gets away with it. He still sits in second place. Okay, so here's your marker, DJ. We've got 1.4 seconds up to Stempien. We theorized whether or not Lawson has the pace to chase down Steven. So they've got 10 laps to the first stage closing out. Does he even attempt to?
I mean, at this point, why push the car? Why try to go over that limit? Let's see what he can do and just hold on to it. I mean, I don't think there's any need to try to close down Stempien in this first stage.
Okay, so 10 laps. We'll see if he does or if he just holds station here, takes that second place. It won't mean anything. DJ mentioned it earlier. Stage points are pointless here, literally, at this last round for those top 4. It is all who finishes ahead of the others. Austin Reedy now going to challenge Forrester. Also, what this does is now that Harlow has fallen back, top 4 who are fighting for the championship are now in the top 4 spots on the racetrack. As up high goes the 31 of Forrester, while everybody else rides low.
Yeah, everybody else going to be holding low here at this point, and I think that low groove is just a little bit more comfortable for a few drivers. They just feel a little bit safer down on that low line here at this point, and I think running up to the wall with this worn of tires probably scaring off a few drivers. That would be my sort of gut instinct of why we're seeing that.
Back to single file as they fly down the back stretch, and then they fan out once more, each taking their racing line through the corner, really using that bubble, as Colin Forrester letting the car get pushed around as it rides up against the outside wall. Austin Reed drifts up next to him as we check a little farther back into the battle with Rogers and Whittington. This is for 7th.
Yeah, this is going to be side by side. Mario Miranda kind of lurking there in the background. Richard Swavely not too far behind. And this is one of the things that I'd be a little bit worried about if I were the likes of Whittington and Rogers, is somebody like Miranda, who is so quick. He would be able to come up behind and maybe steal a position or two away as courtesy of this battle.
I remember, though, Miranda had to really lock down the brakes to save the car a few laps ago. So he's kind of out of position now as he was climbing up forward earlier and is trying to maybe make up for that. I'm sure he's eager for this this stage to be called and head into pit lane, get some fresh rubber.
Yeah, I'm sure he is as well. He would very much like to be able to come on into the pits as quickly as possible and get those tires, but obviously going to have to wait another 6 laps or so until this stage is over.
Looking at the 7 car now, and then out the back with Chris Progar. A little bit of a fight here towards the lower mid-pack. It is Charles Phelps just behind him. So they're fighting for 24th position coming onto the main straight. There you see both of their webcams just in front of them. I think that is Judd Danielson and Travis Stevens that you see side by side, but down the inside of Progar, Phelps is going to give it a go.
All right, Phelps going to give it a little bit of a go there. A little bit surprised by that. A little bit of chatter on the radio as he gets past. And nice little move there for Chuck Phelps.
Indeed, like he was celebrating a little bit there, giving himself a shout of encouragement as he went by. And now only has 5 more laps to go before we get to that stage caution. I'm going to jump back up to Richard Swavely now here in 11th position. That is Warren Kyle Keith just in front of him, and Mario Miranda, who we're watching not long ago. Let's see how Miranda's car is handling.
All right, looks like he's able to hold that line pretty well. Little bit of movement, maybe a little bit of understeer that he's picking up through the corner, but he's going to be able to hold on to it. Little bit of a twitch there, just a snap of oversteer, able to catch it up back up underneath him. He'll keep going around here at this point, but yeah, definitely a little bit of rough running for that car, but not completely detrimental to the cause.
There was a little wiggle in front of him as well. That was Warren Kyle Keith. And he is going to have to save it as well to give up those 2 positions. Oh, maybe just 1. It's going to send it in deep on Swavely and try to retain that spot. Oh, my goodness. Gets into the back of Mario Miranda, who's going to try and save it for the 2nd time. But no, he drifts back up, narrowly escaping. That was Wyatt Brackett. And that is going to bring out the yellow just before the stage caution was going to be thrown. That was a huge save right there from Miranda, as well from Brackett, who had inches to spare between the wall and Mario.
Yeah, I mean, watch this. Mario just does an incredible job holding onto the car here at this point. Just keeps it together absolutely incredibly. There you see the twitch out of the 24. That kind of sets everything up. And then Mario's going to get by the 24 there at that point, continue going around, continuing to try to push here at this point. And then here's the contact. Comes down into the corner. Just a little bit of a miscommunication with the 24 of Warren Kyle Keith. Miranda barely holds onto it. The car scraping across the ground. And there you see just slowing it down, locking it on in here at this point, and barely able to do it.
And woo, they did actually make contact. It looks like hopefully Brackett able to get away with that and didn't touch his suspension. But the drivers have already hooked up with the pace car. I expect we'll see every single driver down in pit lane.
Yeah, I can't imagine that it would be. And this will ostensibly be your stage break here at this point. And that does mean that Steven Stempien draws first blood in this title fight.
Before that yellow, I was able to look at Peel's gap. It had extended up to 1.8, so he was not trying to chase down Stempien. Or at least if he was trying, he didn't have the speed for it. So there's our information on that. I was kind of with you, DJ. I didn't think he needed to try and catch up to him. He just needed to wait for the yellow to come out. As they all hit their pit stalls, it looks like nobody overshooting it for now. I think we had one car getting their lap back. Yeah, Sean Kalist is going to try and get back on the lead lap. He'll carry on.
Yeah, all right, so there they go in a very quick pit stop there for Lawson Peel. 14.4 seconds. I would say that looks like an all-four tire change. That's just execution to perfection there for Peel.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked. I was with you. As soon as I saw him go out, I looked over at his timing screen, and no, there's nothing tricky strategy-wise from him. That was just straight-up good pit crew work. And Peel will jump Stempien in the pit stops and get that clear air. So now, of course, we have a little bit of a special giveaway here. Championship 4 giveaway, win an autographed checkered flag from William Byron's, and we've already had it decided, and your winner is Thomas Richard on Twitter. So Thomas, if you're watching, you have won yourself an autographed checkered flag from William Byron's. Congratulations. So
what a cool event, cool thing to be able to walk away with. That's awesome.
Indeed. Sure would treasure that one. We'll come back for more racing, though. We'll take a short break. We have more to come here in the Sunoco Cup Series finale.
Janice.
What's up, Doug? Hi, Cheryl. What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Fuller. Yeah. Needed F-150 for Smith build.
Got it.
Yesterday.
I know.
Don't forget my BMW.
Gotcha. Check this out. All the major online automotive sites in one place. BMW, done. F-150, done.
How's he do it?
I can search nationwide. Even those classified sites. Auto Tempest, all the cars, one search. That's how I do it.
There is Max Papis in the Ferrari. As great a race as Ferrari has ever won.
The steering wheel for me has always been a sensitive spot. There's a whole experience there that we're all trying to refine. Max Pappas, he asked me one day, he says, what can I do in a wheel? I said, well, with the new.
Welcome back here to Homestead Miami Speedway. They're doubled up and getting ready to go for the second stage here in the season finale. Lawson Peel jumped Stempien in the stops. Now we'll have control on the restart as he waits for Barney to wave the flag, and there it is. Green flag is out as they start to pick up speed. Good start for Peel as he starts to run away, and Forrester's actually going to get a good jump here in the second, it looks like.
Yeah, looks like he's going to be able to hold on to that line right now. Drifts up the track a little bit. That's going to open up the opportunity here for Steven Stempien, though. He's going to move down to the inside. Still a little bit of movement there in back. Mario Miranda, the reason for that flag, he's going to be moving around just a little bit, but side by side for P2.
Yep, down to the inside. Stempien gets that second place back. That was short-lived there for the 31. Don't forget about Austin Reedy. He's been hovering back in that fourth place. He is still in this as well. And the golden hour now fades into the lights here at Homestead Miami Speedway. And the track begins to get lit up by man-made means. We're watching on board with Austin Reedy as he chases his three rivals for the crown.
He's going to be pushing his way around here at this point, trying to see what they're able to do. And this is what we came to see here. Joe Peel, Stempien, Forrester, Reedy, your championship 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Got to think Harlow, though, could be a spoiler in this. He's been running up towards the top there in the number 5. currently sits in 5th appropriately. Whittington is hard to get a beat on because it seems like he likes to run right up to that wall and has kind of scraped it a couple times. We'll see if he can make up for that this time and maybe keep the car a little bit more clean. And then, of course, there's Mario Miranda and his wild ride that he's had so far in this race. So Lord knows where he is going to wind up, as he's already had plenty of adventures. But as our top drivers come back across the line here on to lap 56, we continue to tick off the laps. We were talking during the break. We're anticipating more of the same here. Drivers just kind of going through the motions, getting through the laps here in the second stage, waiting for the last stage to really set themselves up.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about that setup here at that point. That's exactly why you saw Steven Stepien on that last run back off of that look down to the inside of Lawson Peel. Didn't want to go for it too aggressively there. Didn't want to ruin his race with a move that ultimately is not going to matter all that much when we get to the end.
Maybe the NASCAR people wound up being theater majors or something. We've got 3 stages here, all this building up to the 3 acts and climaxing here at the very end. Who will be able to take home all of it, as down to the inside, a little look there from Stepien on Lawson Peel, but Peel immediately covers off the inside line as Colin Forrester continues to stay with him, but now Austin Reed's dropping a couple tenths.
Yeah, looks like he's fallen back to about 4 tenths. Let's call that about 5-6 car lengths. And it looks like here at this point, Ross Harlow, Jesse Whittington looking very, very interested in trying to get a move down to his inside.
Yeah, I think he wants to try and get something there, but he loses it off the corner. Ooh, here goes Stepien again. This time it's a much better run, and the 12 does not try and block him off. He lets him have the inside, and he's going to run him around the long way here through 3 and 4. Up onto the main straight. Little bit of a drift there, it seems, from the 12. That's going to cost him the spot, and actually he does bump into the back of the New Englander.
All right, so he does bump into the back of him there. Just a little bit of a love tap, a little bit of a how you doing, and Stepien's going to control that. You didn't see a lot of anger there out of Steven's face. I think that's just good, clean, hard racing.
Yeah, I think he knew that Peel didn't realize he had the momentum he had, got into the back. And actually, more of a concern is Peel also hit the back and the wall with that little moment. As he did look like he was somewhat surprised by the fact that he approached the 81 so quickly. Now he gives him a lot more space, and it looks like maybe we'll settle down for a few laps as we try to climb towards lap 100 now.
All right, working our way closer and closer to that 175 lap marker here at this point. Trying to see what they are able to do. We ride on board with Austin Reedy in 4th place. Been able to close that gap back down. Now put a little bit of a gap between himself and Ross Harlow.
You know, we talked about the surprise that Peel jumped everybody with the same pit stop. I just looked through. Nobody actually took 2 tires in that stop. Everybody went for all 4. Kind of makes sense. They have 6 sets total during the race, so they're not exactly shy on rubber here. But thought maybe someone would try to get a little track position. Right now, Joseph Mahar currently is your biggest mover, up 19 and into 11th. Is that a move down to the inside of Peel here by Forrester? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Here he goes, trying to take that away here at this point. Forrester, I think, is going to have it. Is he going to have enough to slide on up? No, he's not. Peel's going to have a little bit of an overlap, and they'll stay side by side.
A little bit of jockeying here in the middle of the race. Again, this is not as intense as maybe you would think here, considering this is between those top 4. Everybody's just kind of feeling it all out. Forrester maybe trying to see exactly what the car can do, trying to put a challenge on Lawson Peel. Because remember, these drivers may have practiced some during the week, may have tried to do what they could in the warm-up, but the only thing that really tells you what's going to happen is once you get into the race proper.
Yeah, exactly. That is really and truly the key here. You've just got to be running at full chat here at this point and just seeing what the car can do. Speaking of that, looking a little farther back into the field, Harlow, Whittington running side by side. Whittington trying to make that move down on the low side.
Harlow actually losing out a bit to Reedy here, so I wonder if Whittington's giving him the hurry-up, says we don't want to lose touch with the leaders. It's about 7 tenths now between them and Austin Reedy. And if they lose those top 4, it's going to be more difficult to try and catch them back up. Granted, we will have at least one more caution with the stage caution at the end of 100 laps. So you see both of them on your screen now, vying for position.
Yeah, they're just trying to hold on here at this point. And these are, again, the first drivers that are not in that championship conversation, but that doesn't mean they don't want to go out and win this race and end on a high note here. So they're going to be pushing with everything they've got.
And in terms of raw points, Ross Harlow's actually third in the championship. Just didn't make the final four, unfortunately. So yeah, I still think that Ross could be something of a spoiler in terms of the overall win. It just all depends, as underneath him, a little bit of a move down to the inside by Whittington as we watch those top four cycle through turn 1 and 2. We're going to jump back to Parker Bland. She started way down the order here, but has jumped up to at least 26, a gain of 5 so far.
Yeah, gain of 5 here for Parker, just trying to gain those positions as much as possible here, seeing what they can get. And this is one of the things that's a little bit difficult for the 18 as they move their way up through the field. It's picking the lane here when you've got multiple drivers in front of you picking multiple lanes. Oh, that's the 16 up into the wall. That's Garrett Brown.
Lose a lot of speed with that one. Parker's going to say thank you. I'll take that away as long as Garrett gives up the ghost, which he does not. He'll ride high. Doesn't look like he has the momentum, though. That's Muscarella down to the bottom side. Muscarella does it again. Tries to gather the car up. Doesn't go as far low this time. But Alex having a big issue sliding off of turn 2.
All right, I want Alex Muscarella to buy me a lottery ticket. That's the second time we've seen him make the luckiest save in the world. Muscarella getting my vote for driver of the race here at this point from those 2 saves alone.
Yeah, but someone's got to talk to him about what he's doing to those rear tires. For some reason, they cannot seem to hold on through turns 1 and 2. Let's watch the onboard here for him, as he's going to tuck it down low early. Let's see, is he pinching off the corner maybe? Is he just putting... Oh, it's already getting loose here as he's chasing it up the hill, and then by the end, he runs out of traction.
Yeah, just runs out of grip there, and lucky to be able to hold on to it, but still an incredible save, an incredible recovery there for him. There you can see from James Kunkel right now, as there's the drift up the track, and Muscarella just absolutely goes for a tumble.
Does seem like that bottom line likes to do that. I just saw Parker Bland have a similar moment where the car got loose, pinched all the way to the white line, but thankfully gathered it up before turn 4 was over. So I wonder if maybe more drivers are going to have to start riding up high here, because it does look like it's getting awful dancy when they try to stay low.
Yeah, I think so. They're just starting to lose it there a little bit, and they're just going to have to try to keep everything locked down a little bit more as they continue to run around here at this point. Not seeming to have that problem here for Steven Stempian, though. Up at the front of the field, he's still continuing to have things locked down and doing very, very well running on that low side.
Yeah, and Peel's going to join him this time through 3 and 4. Let's watch the cars. Let's watch the hands. Yeah, incredibly smooth here. So definitely managing his tires a little bit better than some of those behind Stempian, who have been slipping and sliding around. This time through 1 and 2, the 12 goes up to the top side.
Yeah, and I think that's just a little bit of personal preference there at that point as they try to hold everything down here and keep it together. I'm not entirely sure if he's trying to make a move here. Now I can guarantee you, Joe, that is him going for a move down to the inside.
Okay, so he at least gets underneath him briefly, but shutting the door. Stempian is not going to have any of that. Peel will stay in second place. I just looked down at Mahar. He's up 22 spots now and into 8th position. The 46 continues to climb as here we go again with the 12, managing to take the low line at least side by side, but it doesn't look like it is going to actually get him the spot.
Yeah, not really able to get it there at that point, but he's still going to try to hold on here, keep up the fight, and that could be a little bit crucial. He wants to let Steven Stempian know that this isn't going to be all his own way.
Going to make him fight for it. Forrester once again dropping off back there in the 3rd spot. It's up to 7/10 of a second. And Harlow has really fallen behind. 1.8 seconds right now. Here's Austin Reedy fighting with Forrester. Similar to what we saw with Stempian and Peel just a lap or 2 ago. Off the turn, despite being on the bottom line, does look like that the 96 has a little bit better handle on it than what we've seen from those back down the order. Chucks it into 3 and 4. Will we get a bit of an over-under from the 31? No, he is going to actually have to settle for that 4th place.
Yeah, he's just going to have to hold on to it here at this point. Doesn't look like it's really going to work too much here as they run. let's see here as they continue to go. Look at that 12. Peel just absolutely flirting with that top side barrier, doing a really great job. I think he actually just made contact with him.
It looked very close to it. So I don't know if he actually did, but he was right on the edge. Didn't get him a spot, but he continues to hold on to Stempien. And this time riding the bottom line. Oh, the car looking like it's sliding a little bit off the corner, though, there through 3 and 4. Doesn't seem as happy there.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like he likes it necessarily as much as on that other run there. So he'll have to try to see if he can maybe change that up a little bit, have some fun with it, maybe adjust the way he's going to run it. Really all up to him here at this point because he's got plenty of room around him and behind him. Doesn't have to necessarily push super, super hard because he's got that about 0.5 of a second gap between himself and Austin Reedy.
All right, this starts lap 75 now, halfway through this second stage of our season finale. Stempien and Peel have looked to be the ones in this part that are the ones to watch out for. It was Forrester and Stempien a little bit earlier, but the 31 has fallen by the wayside somewhat now that they've restarted under green in the second stage. So down to the bottom, they all fall. Let's see if the 12 slides up a little bit again and loses pace. That one looks a lot better, although the very exit did see a tiny wiggle.
Yeah, just a little bit of a wiggle there, and we're about halfway through this stage here at this point, so that's going to change things around a little bit, and now they can kind of go, okay, I've used half the tire, I'm going to think about half the tire here at this point, but look at that run. Lawson Peel carrying some great speed up on the high side. He's going to go for a little bit of a move down to the inside. Stempien cuts him off.
Just chop across him and let him know that it's not time for that quite yet. And, oh, hello. When did Reedy catch them? That was very, very quick. He was way off of them before.
Yeah, he was well down the order at that point, and I think all of that fighting back and forth just allowed him to come up into the play here at this point. My goodness gracious.
Reedy was kind of hanging back in that first one. Maybe he's figured he doesn't need to do that as much, was happy with the wear on the tires. Now he's pushing a little bit harder to try and stick with those top two, give them some hassle. The way this is shaping up, it does genuinely look like it'll likely be whoever wins this race wins the championship.
Yeah, I think that's the way it's shaping out here at this point, and that is always good, Joe. That's what we want to see. A little bit of a dive down to the inside here as they try to sort themselves out, continuing to try to go, continuing to try to see what they're going to be able to get, continue to see what they're going to be able to do. The 12 going to be able to stay ahead here. Peel going to hold on to that advantage for now.
Harlow's been losing more and more pace. He's now under attack from Zach Wilson behind them, so he might fall out of 5th. Car not seeming to perform nearly as well on this one. Look at the gap there between Reedy and Forrester down in 4th position. There's that battle I was talking about. That's Harlow on the high side. That is Wilson down on the bottom. He's going to see whether or not he can make this one work, as they both pinch as far down as they can go, neither wanting to go all the way out to the outside, but they look steady coming off the corner.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty even here at this point. Wilson going to try to dive that car in. Here comes another move. Reedy trying to get ahead of Peel, and I think he finally got it done, but Peel looking for the crossover.
That certainly looked a little sketchy there, and that's getting more intense now as the car is losing grip, sliding across the track, still remaining at about 83 Fahrenheit between them. Reedy up into P2. Is Peel starting to feel some of the effects of his riding before? Did he abuse the tires a little bit, or is he still just playing it cool and letting the race unfold?
I mean, it could be a little bit of column A, could be a little bit of column B here at this point, Joe. We'll have to see, but I trust Lawson Peel. We've got to remember here at this point, Peel is a reigning champion here in this series. And if he is, anybody is going to be able to know how to get this car to the end, that's going to be it.
Some more blinking from the 96. Oh, and a loose moment there from Lawson Peel coming off of turn 2. Still got a long ways to go with about 19 to 20 laps left before the stage caution is thrown. That's not a good sign for the 12 if he's lost out to Reedy and has a big moment with the car.
Yeah, that's not going to be good here. We jump back on board with Brandon Banks, trying to take a little bit of a move here as he runs around down to the inside right now. Looks like he's got a little bit of a better run as he's going to try to get that to play here at this point. That's Danielson that he's down to the inside of.
Danielson riding the high line. Doesn't look like he's got the speed. Maybe he'll shoot back up to him on corner exit. Nope. It's going to go to Brandon Banks next up the road. Dakota Curtis in the number 10, riding in 18th spot.
Yeah, Curtis doing a good job here at this point. He's really holding on well as he runs, and he's kind of been in the heat of everything over the course of today, kind of been in the action all the way across the field here, and he's going to continue to be in that action here at this point. The 23 just trying to hold on to that high side. Ooh, good run there. Aaron Adcock going to lose a position there to Sturgeon, but Sturgeon looked like he backed out of it a little bit.
Yeah, and just doesn't have the speed coming off the corner as well, so he's going to let him go, at least for now. He'll still dive down to the inside, try and use that shorter, shallower racing line to see if he can get by him. Ooh, actually does a really good job. He's going to be ahead of him on the corner exit. Doesn't chop him off, though. He'll leave him space.
No, all right, so some good respectful racing here at this point. You got to kind of love that from that, especially this far on into the race, and with these tires as worn as they are, I would have expected a little bit more slipping and sliding here, and maybe a little bit more bumping and banging, but drivers keeping it very clean, giving each other plenty of space.
Yep, so he will stay ahead of Adcock with that move. Nicely done. And that will get him 16th position, so just about halfway exactly up through the fields. As we come back to our leaders once again, Reedy on Stempien, but now they've got lap traffic. That's K-List, who has a bit of a sketchy moment letting him through. Oh, and we got a yellow. That is Mahar.
Oh, Joe Mahar there down to the inside off of turn 2. The number 46 looks like a little bit of a spin here at this point. Let's see if we can see exactly what happened to Mahar. Going to come out of turn, or come into turn 1 relatively clean. Now that's the number 30 there behind him. That's Wyatt Brackett. Huh? I thought that was going to be a little bit more sketchy. Oh no, there it is. Brackett just got a little bit of oversteer there coming off the corner and couldn't save it.
Wow, I thought at first from my angle that Mahar lost it. No, it was the other way around. So Brackett now involved in both of our yellows here. And woo, nice little avoidance down to the inside, managing to stay out of trouble. And Mahar has got to be supremely frustrated with that one, considering the inroads that he had made. Here's Miranda, who... Wow.
Oh, talk about as close could be.
I don't think Miranda's going to get a ticket to the movies later. He's had enough entertainment for one day. Okay, we're back into pit lane, and this time it is a bit split. Kip easily stays out. Stempien, everybody else in. So I wonder if we're going to see Kip Easley come in after this when regretting his decision when he realizes he's the only one. No, he's not. Steven stays out. Brown, Kunkel, Bland. Looks like that is it. Everybody else is in and exiting pit lane once again. Somehow. No, that's Stempien. I thought that was Lawson that managed to jump up to the front. So Stempien is going to find himself up at the front after the pit stops, and behind him it will be Austin Reedy. Now, I believe we're going to have a quick chat with Stempien, who's not going to return in the lead unless we get a bunch of drivers pitting. So let's see how he feels about that. So far, you've looked pretty well in control of this race, Steven. You got a couple cars that are staying out. I assume you're not too worried about them?
Nah, I feel locked in, man. This is the best I've felt this season in race trim, so I'm gonna knock on wood and hopefully don't jinx myself.
I understand the feeling. You won stage 1. I know those stages don't mean a whole lot, but it does seem like track position has been in your favor. Do you think any of the three behind you have been holding back, or do you think this is legitimate?
I don't know. I think Lawson was racing pretty hard there. I know he wanted some clean air. I felt like Reedy, he hung back a little bit there. So he had a pretty good long run speed. I feel like he was able to kind of chill while we were racing. But I mean, you know, my guys are telling me the lap time's clicking down, and I seem to be the quickest on track. So that's a good sign. We'll see if it continues.
We've seen a number of drivers that have been getting loose off of turn 2 and either nearly causing cautions, or in the case of this one, actually bringing out the yellow. How is your car feeling over the course of a stint? Have you been noticing it getting free by the end?
A little tiny bit. I've been pretty good managing throttle control off, making sure I know Reedy and Peel had a little bit of trouble off corner exit there, and I was pretty good, pretty solid. So just gonna continue doing what I'm doing, and we'll see if we can get this championship, man.
It's looking promising. Best of luck for the remainder of the race.
I appreciate it, guys. Hopefully talk to you in a little bit.
Number 81, Steven Stempian, currently running 6th, but has definitely led the majority of the laps of this race as they now start to line up double file. And no, those cars did not decide to come back in. They wanted that track position. If I had to guess, though, DJ, I think they're going to get swallowed up.
Yeah, I think they are as well. With just as much speed we've seen here, needing new tires, I think they're going to get absolutely swamped, Joe. There's no way about it.
So Reedy, Peel, Stempian, Forrester, they're now in the thick of it. I got to think they have to focus on survival mode here, because it's going to be a little bit of chaos with those drivers that stayed out on older tires, not probably having the pace, maybe being a little bit more sketchy coming off some of the corners. It can so easily erupt in front of them, and the last thing they need is a damaged car coming into the final stage, which will be soon. We didn't finish the stage this time under yellow. We are going to try and race to that 100 lap mark to wrap it up. Who will be at the top of it come the end of it is the question. Is the pace car getting ready to release them, and Kip Easley will have control? Can he get the throttle down smoothly on old tires? He does. Green flag is out. He takes off like a shot. Behind him, who is going to be able to make up positions on those old tire runners?
Well, it looked like there was a little bit of a stack up there, middle of the pack there around Ross Harlow or so. There was a little bit of bumping and banging there, so they were going to be able to keep their all on and trying to go. But we've got another yellow out on the track, Joe.
I see Dakota Curtis slow, and it looks like Mario Morinda again. Woof, what a night for this number 99. He'll whip the car around. I'm going back to check to see what exactly happened here. And the car is going to get loose again. This time, very much all on his own. Whoa, big snap back. And unfortunately for Dakota Curtis, that was just wrong place, wrong time. That was, yeah, it's Curtis in the 10 here. Let's watch from his perspective.
Yeah, let's watch. He tries to move down to the inside here with the number 24 of Warren Kyle Keith. Maybe a little bit of a bump, and then the car just absolutely snaps on him. Nowhere to go for Curtis.
Yeah, I don't see how he could have avoided that one. I mean, honestly, even the slide was very short there for Morinda, so I don't know that he'd have nearly any warning that that was going to happen. Suddenly, a car was perpendicular across the way from him, and he was in the wall. So we go from a lot of green flag racing to suddenly back-to-back yellows now here in the midst of the race. Curtis naturally is going to be pitting in. Those who stayed out will continue to stick to their guns.
Well, I mean, at this point, you can't really back off of it here as you go. You've got to kind of commit to it if you are the likes of Easley, Brown, Stevens. You don't want to throw that all away. Kunkel is the one that has been passed here at this point. He drops down to 5th place as Peel has been able to move up 1.
In fact, we're going to talk to Peel here into this 4th position. Lawson, we were talking to Stempian a little bit earlier about these drivers that stayed out. Are you going to try and handle them with kid gloves to make sure you don't get involved in an incident here?
Yeah, certainly don't want to force the issue here and put the old race car in a bad spot. It's the last thing we want to do. We're going to have, looks like a real short run to the stage break, so down we'll pit again, given this caution right here. So I just need to keep the track position. I had it there for a few laps in front of Steven, and I was trying to take care of my tires. And it just seems a lot better than me down in 1 and 2. I got to figure out what I'm doing down in 1 and 2 to do a little better, because I'm a little concerned that I don't have it right now. I'm gonna have to find something.
Stempians was saying that his car wasn't feeling too bad, while we've seen plenty of other drivers get extremely loose towards the end of a stint. How are your tires looking in the long term?
Yeah, the first run, my tires were really good. I did not take care of them very well at all there, but I'm still getting loose. Even at the end of that first run, my tires were good. They were kind of where I want them to be, but I was still loose. Looser than I want to be. So I don't know if the track will come to me a little better here as the hard dark sets in. Hopefully it will, but yeah, I'm not near as good at taking care of the right rear tire as I am the right front. I'm gonna have to find a way to do a little better here at taking care of the tires here, especially in the sturdy area, because these guys are really good. Really looked like he had really good long run speed right there. So, and Stempian just looks like he's fast from start to finish. So I'm gonna have to find something here.
Well, we'll keep an eye on you and see how that car looks off the corners later in the race. Best of luck for the remainder.
Thank you, guys.
That was Lawson Peel in the number 12. Going to restart this one in 4th, and just has a couple cars that he needs to overtake to try and get ahead of those that have stayed out. Now on to lap 44 on those tires, those drivers that stayed out. Parker Bland did come in. I think she was the only one of the top group that had stayed out that changed their decision there, DJ, and went in for some fresh tires.
Yeah, and I don't know if I necessarily love that call from Parker, but we'll have to see how it plays out here over the rest of this session. Not too long here to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, not a great tire advantage. They had all of half a lap under green there, and now has lost track position. But maybe she knows something that we don't. We'll see as we're getting ready to restart once again. Like we heard from Lawson, this should be a short blast to the end of the stage. So who is going to be antsy to try and make it up here? Who is going to once again try to play the patience game?
Well, that's where it's all going to come down to here at this point. We get re-racked, restacked, ready to go. Let's see who has got the most. Kip Beasley and Garrett Brown up front.
Last time Kip got a very good restart. Can he replicate that and leave them behind? There goes the base car. He's got control of it now. He's in the restart zone, and he goes pretty quickly. Once again, it does look good for that number 8 machine. Garrett Brown is going to try and duck down to keep Lawson Peel behind him, who goes up to the high side.
Going to go up to the high side here as Peel tries to make it work, and here they go, running around again. That number 8 machine, though, off to a great start.
And Peel is running away. He is already catching up to easily, as Stempian's going to try and keep contact with him. Doesn't need to lose touch here at the stage. He will get pulled in with that caution flag, though, for the stage. But the last thing he needs is to allow Lawson Peel to have free reign to try and run this race. We're on board now with Colin Forrester as he bumps into the back of Stempian there in 4th place.
Little bit of a bump and run there, little bit of a how you doing. Let's see if we see a little bit more of that as this continues to go along here, closing in on the end of this stage.
Indeed, and though Easley holds on to 2nd, behind him, Stempian closes with ease. Colin Forrester now coming up on the high side. He's going to have him on either side attacking here as they fly down the front stretch. The 8 looks like there is no speed left in those tires.
No, I think it is pretty much shot here at this point, and they are just holding on for dear life as they run down with just a few laps to go. Yeah, falling down through the order here at this point.
Kip's still in 5th, though, so he's still looking pretty good here. If he can just hold up for a few more laps, about 3 laps left to go before they get that caution flag out for the stage break. Can he at least stay within the top 10? Stempian now chasing down Peel. He's already reeled him in and is going to try and get that track position back. He seems to be very comfortable in clean air. No doubt he's going to want it to return.
Yes, he is. Let's see what they can do, though, as they come Stempien. Going to try to make the run here at this point. Doesn't necessarily have the speed. The gap about a car length and a half. And here they go, diving down into the corner.
Behind them, watch out for Colin Forrester. He's now disposed of those who are on the older tires. He's caught up to the back of them. Ross Harlow back into the mix here. He sits in fourth with Reedy in P5, looking for a position. Zach Wilson hot on his heels. There's your top 6 right there, all racing with just barely anything left in this stage. Shooting off the high side, you can see the 5 in the background really trying to slingshot his way down the backstretch.
Trying to see what they're able to get, what the run is, and look at that, Forrester on the outside going for a move.
Just slides the car into the corner. Can he get it going off of the turn? Cuts back, trying for the over-under. Doesn't look like he's got the pace on Stempien, who's going to once again deny him. And there is the caution. The stage is over. Peel, Stempien, Forrester, Harlow, Reedy, your top 5.
All right, well, Reedy down a little bit more, but certainly back in here at this point, and it looks like it's going to be pretty good as they run.
Kip Easley did stay within the top 10. He finished exactly 10th in that stage. Did the best out of those that did stay out. Poor Garrett Brown fell to 18th. James Kunkel to 22nd, and Travis Stevens to 24th. It was a roll of the dice. Sometimes, though, you come up snake eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes if you're that far down in the field, it just pays to try to take a little bit of a gamble. And sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. That time, it didn't.
Now, we recently had pit stops, not a lot of laps under green here. I'm pretty sure those that did stay out before are going to have to come in this time and give up that track position. Going to be very disappointing for them, but they will be on a slightly different strategy. We could still see the others come in because they should have enough tire sets. They're onto their 3rd set right now, so they could afford to take another. It just all depends on who decides to come in. Peel could be damned if he doesn't, damned if he does. And that's exactly what happens, except for Stempien, who decides to stay out. But Forrester, Harlow, Reedy, Wilson, they're all coming in. Sturgeon is going to stay out. So fascinating split at the very top of the field.
Yeah, and I've got to say here at this point, I think for Peel and Stempien, I get this call. I get wanting to stay out there. It could put them at a little bit of a detriment if we get a long green flag run in this final stage. The flip side of that, though, is if we get a yellow that falls absolutely perfectly, they're going to be right in good position.
Who emerges first, though? They're all taking 4 tires. Nobody going to try and gamble here, it appears. Out first goes Colin Forrester, Austin Reedy second, Ross Harlow 3rd, and Zach Wilson 4th. Of those who pitted, Peel, Stempien, Sturgeon, though, going to be your top 3. We'll come back with the final stage here of the last race of the season and the Sunoco Cup Series. Don't go away.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Fuller. Yeah. Needed F-150 for Smith build.
Got it.
Yesterday.
I know.
Don't forget my BMW.
Gotcha. Check this out. All the major online automotive sites in one place. BMW, done. F-150, done.
How's he do it?
I can search nationwide, even those classified sites. Auto Tempest, all the cars, one search. That's how I do it.
Hi guys, today me and Moose welcome to my extremely formal presentation of my 2 latest creations, the MPI Sing Chassis and the MPI Foldable Stand. When I created the MPI chassis, I wanted to have everything included, what it means. So in the MPI chassis, I wanted to have everything you need besides the electronics. So it has the keyboard tray, mouse tray, adjustability, TV stand, computer stand, super stiff pedal assembly, a seat that if you want, if you don't have a lot of space, you can fold it. If you have limited space, I solved your problem. The MPI will stand, you can use any component you want on it, and at night, fold in half, very limited space, and you can put it away. You can use your own chair, your own TV, problem solved.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Welcome back to Homestead Miami Speedway. We're getting ready for the restart here for the final stage of the season finale. But before we get to racing, we want to remind you that this series is brought to you by SK Sim Racing, which has been a proud sponsor of the Sunoco Cup Series and offers a wide variety of services to get you up on your sim racing game. For sim racing products, so big thank you, of course, to SK Sim Racing. But the drivers here probably more concerned about what is going on with the racing out on the track rather than their rigs as they get lined up 2 by 2 and get ready to go. And as they watch that pace car, this time it's going to be Lawson Peel who starts us off. There goes the pace car in. He's in the restart zone now. He wastes no time and gets on the loud pedal behind him. Stempien almost getting swamped by Logan Sturgeon up on the outside. Brandon Banks gets a nice run. He could almost chop down, but not quite.
And Parker Bland absolutely like a sitting duck in the middle of the field there. Remember, Parker did not come in on that last restart, and so that means that those tires are a little bit more worn. Now we've got a battle here farther up the field, 3 wide farther back.
Oof, things starting to amp up now that they are in the final stage as drivers looking for that track position. They know that this is go time. And drivers farther at the back probably regretting that decision to put themselves off strategy because now they are way out of the order. Those who are up at the front can afford to try and go long here and preserve the tires a little bit. 70 laps to go as we watch the battle down into turn 3 between Austin Reedy and Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Reedy trying to close in here on the back of that number 51. Remember, Reedy, one of those drivers that is in that championship four, does not want to be down in this position in P8. Clearly wants to be up the top 3 with the other championship contenders.
Yeah, Reedy, as I said, comes in a bit of an underdog amongst these drivers, but certainly deserves to be there in his own rights. Question is, now that he's down in 8th, is this going to cost him? As they once again dive into turn 3 and up at the front, as it has been for much of this race, it seems to be mostly between Peel and Stempien.
Yeah, those look like to be the contenders here. We've seen Colin Forrester kind of poke his head in and out of the battles here at this point, but hasn't necessarily been right up with that absolutely quick pace that we've seen out of the other two. So not entirely sure if he's going to be able to get his way up there, but you never know. Right up here with Lawson Peel right now. And it looks like Stempien thought about a move down to the inside, but thought against it.
Got another caution, and it looks like Jesse Whittington may be involved off of turn 2. Trying to see if this involved anybody else. He's going to get the car rolling at least. There you see the 94 down the backstretch, trundling along. I think he had a lone spin somehow, despite being in the middle of the pack. Everybody avoided him. Boy, we have had an absolute slew of cautions. Yeah, look at them scatter, and yet nobody makes contact.
Very, very lucky on that. Let's take a look on board here. Is coming down through the corner. You can see it just loses rear grip there, tries to get the car back up the track, and runs afoul of that apron line, and that's going to be a little bit of a problem there for him.
He only pitted 7 laps ago, so it's not like he's out on really old tires here. This is a bit of a confusing one for me. Not sure what exactly is going on there. The drivers obviously are going to have to try and watch those tires. We knew that the cars were getting loose. Track has not really changed temperature a whole lot. It's only 81 Fahrenheit right now, so I wouldn't blame it on super changing conditions. And did I see Lawson Peel go in? Yes, indeed. Peel, Brandon Banks, trying to see if there's anybody else. A few other drivers. Looks like Knighton, I believe, pits, but Peel is the shocker to me.
Yeah, unless this is a strategy that he thinks he can get to the end on 65 laps of fuel, I sincerely doubt he'll be able to do it, but that clearly just trying to set himself up. I'm at a little bit of a loss on this one.
I mean, maybe it's a case of, can I go to the finish from here, not stop anymore if it stays green? I'm not entirely sure. We'll see how he decides to play it. Let's talk to Austin Reedy, though. In the meantime, in the number 96, up to sixth position here, Austin. We were wondering if you had any concern about trying to keep touch with those in front of you, having been put behind a few non-championship folks.
No, I think we'll be all right. We're definitely top 4 fastest car. We just got to get around those guys and save our tire. We'll be back up there.
It does look like tires have become the talking point of the night, about how the car is handling over the long course of a stint. How do you feel about how you've been able to keep hold of it over long runs? Do you feel like you've been keeping it more stable than others?
Yeah, I think the stage 2, I learned a lot more. Stage 1 was kind of a struggle, but stage 2, I kind of figured it out. Then I just went into that corner in turn 1 and apparently had no idea what I was doing and slid up 3 lanes, so I'll have to see what happens. The track's changing. It's changed so much since we started, so we'll figure it out, though.
Well, best of luck. We're into the final stage, and we'll be keeping an eye out for you.
All right, see you guys.
Austin Reedy in the 96. Real quick as well, we're going to talk to Forrester, who's much farther up and sitting behind Stympian in the number 31. Now, Colin, it looks like Peel decided to kind of go alternate strategy and duck in. Do you have any ideas what his call is on that? What the idea is here? Are you concerned, or do you feel like you've got a good handle on what he's trying to do?
I think I know what he's trying to do. Obviously, he stayed out there at the end of the stage, but looking at it, we're within the fuel window now, so if it goes back to the green flag runs we had, I know me, Stympian, and Reedy and all those guys can't make it, but I believe he should be able to make it. So that would be the only thing I would think you'd be doing, because obviously he had the older tires there, but I don't think they would have mattered as much. So I think he just went in for fuel strategy and hope it stays green.
Yeah, that's kind of what I suspected as well. Now, let's say we get a caution late and all 4 of you are able to pit. It comes down to who has that short run pace, a dash to the finish. Out of you 4, do you think you have enough to try and outgun them?
No, I definitely believe I have the short run pace. It's definitely the long run paces that's been killing me so far, but I know if we have a short run, I'm going to get up on it and we're going to try and make stuff happen. It's going to get wild.
Oh, we have no doubt about that. So best of luck, Colin, and good luck on this restart.
All right, appreciate it.
Colin Forrester in the 31 car, restarting on the front row for this one, DJ. So interesting hearing everybody's perspectives on this one, especially as this race has evolved.
Yeah, very much so. And that idea that we had there about Lawson maybe coming in and being able to get a little bit of extra fuel and try to make it to the end, not the craziest thing. But again, as we've always talked about tonight, tire strategy may come into play on that. I don't know if he's going to be able to last a full 60 laps on these tires. But Joe, pace car about ready to pull down to pit lane. We're about ready to get back to racing.
Peel will restart 24th on the field, but up at the top, Stympian, who's led the majority of this one so far, is going to get the restart. Green flag is out. He actually got a hello from Sturgeon from behind. Don't think he hit him too hard, thankfully, so cars should be in good shape as they start to pick up speed down into 1 and 2. Up high, that is Forrester and Harlow. Sturgeon down on the bottom.
Yeah, trying to hold that line there down on the bottom, and it looks like the high side's going to come into play. Forrester going to get a good one. Harlow going to get a good one. Reedy just kind of sitting back there and waiting to see what's going to happen there. And the number 96, he's going to take a run on the high side now, too.
This is his chance to maybe get up into the thick of it here. He's been hanging out at the back of the group for much of this race. Granted, he's still been within probably about the top 6 for the vast majority of it. Here is Lawson Peel's view with all the work to do, the field in front of him.
Yeah, he really has to keep trying to work here at this point, trying to see if he's able to do anything. And he has got to kind of manage a little bit of aggression here.
Holy cow! That's there. Well, that's if he's managing the aggression, he's decided it's time to bring it out as he makes it 4 wide. And he's going to be able to get through that pack. My eyes bugged out as he took it below the white line.
My eyes did too. I didn't think that was possible, but Lawson Peel not messing around in that number 12. He wants positions, and he wants them now.
Well, we said tires were a big talking point. Lawson decided fresh tires are worth quite a bit, and boy, do they ever. Up to 17th already.
Yeah, he's moving, he's shaking, he is ready to go here at this point, pushing his way around. We ride on board with him again. Now that is going to be Garrett Brown and Warren kind of keep directly up ahead of him. Garrett Brown, the car that just slid in front here at the moment, so we'll have to see how that shakes out, if he's going to be able to try to get a move here on the 24.
So now things calm down at least briefly for Lawson Peel, but up at the front, it is Forrester and Stempien gapping Harlow by about half a second now. Oh, and around the outside, Forrester actually managing to get overlap despite taking the longer distance, and is going to be ahead by the timing line. Wow, Forrester looks good right now.
Yeah, that's a great run for Forrester there at that point. Certainly one of the better ones that we've seen play out. I'm very, very impressed with that run from Colin.
Forrester on 15-lap old tires, Stempien on 30. Much of that was under yellow, though, so there isn't as great of a difference, but enough that Colin Forrester is using them to pretty good effect. Now, he hasn't got the job done completely. Steven's going to stick with him down on the bottom side in that number 81 as they fly onto the front stretch once again. But from what I'm seeing, if we do get that late race caution, I'm starting to suspect that tires are king.
I kind of think I am too here at this point, especially considering the fact that Lawson Peel's been able to gain so many positions. Stempien, who has really been the class of the field here today, looking strong, but just not quite close enough to be able to keep it up to that fresher rubber Colin Forrester machine.
Now, if it does go green all the way to the finish, that's going to make it really interesting, because we'll have a lot of cars that will probably need to pit in to get to the end, whereas Lawson Peel will probably want to try and stay out to make this strategy work. Here he is, now up to 15th. Parker Bland, the next one up on the high side, looking like the 12 going to be able to maybe get that done. No, 18's going to fight back on him.
Yeah, going to fight back on him there a little bit. That's what we've seen time and time again. That high line particularly works well down the back straightaway. And as long as he's not going to get a little bit of a road jam here from Curtis Kelly up in front of him, he should be able to get this move done coming out of 4.
They fly down the front stretch. Yeah, Parker Bland coming back at it. And it's going to make life difficult for our championship contender. But whoa, almost getting to the left rear of the 71. Just about stays out of it from contact. That's Curtis Kelly, who I think slapped the wall on corner exit. And that will give the 12 car 13th place.
Yeah, that'll make him be able to move up, and he has not done. He's already taken a look down to the inside there at this point. That's why at bracket he's trying to move around, but we've got a battle for the lead here, Joe.
Yeah, Stempien back on it. He's going to fight back on Forrester, who still remains on that outside line. Seems to like it in the way it's working on those fresher tires. Pinches him down. Will that upset the car of the 81? Not really, but it also doesn't give him much speed. He falls back in line.
Falls back in line here at this point. Let's see how this continues to play out, because I think the elbows are off. The elbows are out. The gloves are off here at this point. I think it's time to go full bore racing.
Thank you, Murray Walker, as we carry on. Steven Stempien might have to worry not just about this 31 car. Look behind them. Ross Harlow down to 0.3 of a second. He's regaining time on them.
Yeah, he's starting to close in here a little bit more. And remember, Harlow was one of those drivers that we often had pinned here as probably being able to make his way into the championship 4, just not able to get it done. But he's still a devilishly quick driver, and especially if Forrester and Stempien continue to fight this out a little bit, Harlow could very easily get himself involved in this battle.
Yeah, I think that that dark horse that I keep calling on him is proving to be truer and truer 53 laps to go in this race. We're getting down to the end of it. And who will be our rivals? Reedy hanging out about just over a second behind the overall leaders. Could still catch up a little bit here at the end of this race. As we take a look at Brad Fulham now, we haven't checked in on yet this race, the 19. Where is he sitting currently, actually?
Looks like he's going to be down in the order there at about 28th position, so nearly on the back of the field here at this point. But this just goes to show you how much action is going on up and down this order, Joe.
And that, I think, is what's going to be worrisome to those at the front. The more that the drivers are fighting hard, the more likely we are to see yellows, especially at the end of the race. And those yellows packing everybody together really throws it up in the air, and it could be anybody's race.
Well, and let's not forget the fact that it's the old adage that you and I are wont to say more often than not, yellows breed yellows. And so if we do get a yellow here at this point, who knows what's going to happen later on.
Certainly, as Colin Forrester is going to retain the lead over Stempien this time. Stempien gave a little bit of a look, couldn't quite make it happen. It looks to me like Forrester likes that lane up. He doesn't cover off the bottom line, and Stempien keeps sticking his nose in, but it doesn't seem to be faster than that lane up.
No, I don't think so, and I think part of the problem here is that line from Forrester here is pinching Stempien a little bit down on the low side. It's kind of taking away his options on where to go. Stempien doesn't like to run that super high line, and so that's putting him into a little bit of a problem.
That's preventing him from getting the run that he really wants. Peel just got another one over Sturgeon. He's now up into 11th spot and continuing to climb. For those that are curious, Peel's 3 seconds behind the lead right now as we go side by side once again between the top two. Stempien farther ahead now. He could drift up if he really wants to. He decides not to initially. Now he's got clearance and put the 81 into P1.
Well, excuse me, I had to cough there. Remember what Forrester told us, that he was a little bit worried about his long run pace, didn't necessarily feel that he had it. I think this is coming to play here at this point with Stempien being able to muscle his way on by.
And as they cross the line, it looks like Harlow's ever closer. He's now only 2/10 behind them. Wonder if they'll behave a little bit and start to run more single file so that Harlow doesn't become a serious issue in the battle for the win. There you can see him right behind them with the gap down to Reedy, now extending to about 9/10 of a second between the front group and the next one.
Yeah, it's starting to stretch itself out here a little bit, and this is a little bit of what these drivers want to see up at the front of the field. They want to be in their own little battle. They don't want to have to worry about anybody else catching up with them. But this is very, very perilous here if you are Austin Reedy or even Gary Sexton, who rides in 6th place right now. That's Reedy right in front of him. These boys need to try to move their way up as much as possible. Whoa, big wiggle there out of Wilson.
Goodness, and that's not the only car I've seen do that. Parker Bland had a big moment off of 2 about a lap and a half ago as well. We're hitting that stage for some of these drivers on older tires where I think they're going to start ruining the handling and their decision, and going to have to potentially pit under green. Stempien, by the way, he's up to 43 laps on those tires. He's certainly going to have to make another stop.
Yeah, he's going to have to make another stop here before everything is said and done. And remember, I think everybody's going to have to do that before Peel does, or with Lawson Peel being the only one that may be able to get away with it.
Yeah, 20 laps into the stint. Forrester is only 28, so that's marginal, but pretty sure he is going to at least want to come in one more time. Doubt he'll try and stay out for the full length of it. This time Stempien will cover off Forrester, not allowing him to try and make a move down at least the inside, but Forrester likes riding exactly where he is. Wonder if we'll see Steven maybe try to take that lane away and cause him some dirty air.
I mean, that could be a little bit of the run here at this point. I don't see Steven running that aggressive, though, here at this point. He's just kind of making Colin go around the high side. He knows he's got a little bit of a faster car here, and these two don't look like they're necessarily wanting to get their elbows out fully here at this stage. They're content to run where they are. Now, watch when we get down to the last maybe 20 laps to go, then all bets are off.
I was just going to ask, when is go time? So 20 laps, we'll watch out for that. We still got about 24 before we reach that number. So still plenty that things can unfold and change. We still don't know if we will have any more yellows or if this could potentially go into overtime as well. That could also change the complexion drastically.
Yeah, very, very well could. We will have to see. I know we keep saying that over the course of this broadcast, but there's plenty of interesting stuff to continue to play out over the next 43 laps. We ride on board with Steven Stempien right there. I want to give credit to our director, Ryan Bauer. The way that looked with Ross Harlow's second gaming seat there, it looked like Peel was in the room with them. That was really cool.
I had that same thought a little bit earlier. Yeah, it's happened once before tonight. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I had mentioned it was these exact two that just strange lining up of the two of them. Also, who has a second extra racing seat sitting around? That's what I would have done.
I have a gaming chair. I could use a racing seat. All right, I'm going to talk to Ross after this broadcast then.
I could take that off his hands.
Exactly.
Yeah. I tell you what, Lawson Peel now up into 10th and about to make that 9th here soon as we come back to the battle between P1 and P2, flying through 3 and 4 and back onto the main straight once again. Forrester putting the pressure onto Stempien once again. Remember, he has fresher tires than that 81 car, so theoretically can have maybe a little bit more wiggle room in terms of where he places the car.
Yeah, probably is going to have a little bit more to be able to do with it there at that point. We focus back in on the battle for the lead, though. Almost less than a car length there between our two leaders as they go in. It's starting to grow a little bit of a gap between themselves and Harlow, but I'm not sure if that's Harlow just holding back a little bit and not necessarily wanting to get fully involved in the battle.
Whoa, Peel with a big moment there. That was Gary Sexton pitting in. Lawson was going for 7th place at the time. Make that 6th now, as you see a couple cars pitting here at the halfway point. Now, this is going to be dangerous for them. If we get a yellow, they're likely to go a lap down.
Yeah, they're likely to go a lap down, so might be a little bit rough there for them if a yellow were to come out, but that's the gamble you've got to take.
So Peel has been continuing to just charge through this one and is still about 3.5 seconds behind the lead. But we do believe the leaders need a pit stop, whereas Peel could try and stretch this out to the end if we stay green. That's going to be a big if, especially if we get more scary moments like he had on the pit entry. And Stempien and Forrester are still fighting hard. I'm hoping it doesn't come down to it, but the other question is, these four fighting the championship, if they come back together once again, will it come to car contact between them?
Oh, I hope it doesn't, Joe. I really hope it doesn't. We've seen such clean and good running here from all of these drivers here today. The yellow flags that we've seen brought out are, just a little bit of, miscommunication or just some slight problems that go this way and that way. Really hope it doesn't come to a yellow flag here to decide the winners of this race.
I hope so as well. So will we see any more drivers pit in since that last one? Sexton, Bland, Kalis were the ones that pitted in before. All have gone a lap down, unfortunately. So they are behind the 8 ball. They need this to stay green at least a few more laps.
Yeah, they need to try to hope that this is going to hold out for a little bit longer. We're going to have to see, though, if it will or not. We haven't seen anybody else really peel down into pit lane. A little bit surprised by that. Obviously, drivers just choosing to break this stage directly in half here at this point. But let's see what happens the farther we go on into this race.
Forrester staying on that middle line, but Stempien just running the white line for many laps now on both ends of the speedway. And he is holding that top spot. Doesn't seem to be hurting the tires. Of the drivers we've talked about, Steven seems to me to be among the most confident about how the car is handling over the course of the stint. Didn't really feel like it was loosening up too much on him as it went on. This is Peel's perspective. This is what it looks like 3.5 seconds behind the leaders that are those specs way up in your upper left.
Yeah, and he is going to need to know if they are able to close on in. At this point for him, he's still got a lot of room to make up. 3.5 seconds, and around a circuit like this, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, he's going to need good pace, but he does know that he's in a different position strategy-wise compared to those ahead of him. In fact, he's the only one, I believe, surrounding himself in that strategy call. Brandon Banks pitted with him, but he's down in 17th. Same thing with Muscarelli, who pitted on the same lap. So Peel is in a world of his own right now, and only he knows exactly how this is going to play out. But it also means that should he be on the right position, nobody is going to be able to challenge him. Nobody else around him is near to try and making this difficult for him to just romping away with the win.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing that can throw off here would be a little bit of a yellow, potentially to bring the field back up together. You check back in on Stempien and Forrester. Forrester continuing to run that middle groove. Stempien running low. Both of these cars, it's just where they like to be and what they like to hold on to.
And let's not forget, they're 1.5 seconds ahead of Harlow as well. Harlow looked like he was fast for a little moment, and then he's just disappeared, and these two have run away. You can see the distance behind them that has been left to that third-place car. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if Reedy... Yeah, well, there you go right there. Reedy's making the move. I was going to say, he needs to catch up, so I figure he's probably going to try and dispose of that 5 and start to chase down the top 2.
Yeah, I've got to imagine that that's what he's going to want to do here at this point, try to push his way up as much as possible and see what he is able to do. There's a move down to the inside for Lawson. Peel down to the inside of Zach Wilson. I think he's going to get that slide job done, and yes, indeed he is. Moving him up into P5.
Indeed, and that was helped a little bit, I believe, by Richard Swavely, who also pit in on that lap. So he's the latest to decide time to take some fresh tires and some fuel, see what it can do from here. Those who pitted recently still trying to get their lap back. Looks like Gary Sexton is the highest up right now, but he's still in 29th and still needs to return to the lead lap.
Yeah, so he still needs to try to get back up there and bring his way back around. Another look in here at your leaders, Stempien and Forrester. They continue to run in this sort of formation, but the big news here is that after that pass with Harlow falling back behind, 1.5 seconds between themselves and Austin Reedy. At this point, if we stay green here, Joe, I think the only hope for Reedy is frankly a yellow flag to bunch him back up.
And for Stempien, he kind of needs that yellow flag, if we're honest. 59 laps into a stint now. He's also been at the front, so he's been pushing the air as well. So I wonder, how far exactly can he go?
I'm not sure here at this point. I mean, we know, let's do a little bit of math here on air, and I apologize to everyone here at this point that we are going to do this. It is about 65 laps or so is what I think the maximum is if Peel is able to make it to the end. So that should work. So we've got to see Stempien in within the next 5 laps.
Interesting stuff. Peel, by the way, is up to 4th now and has caught up some. It was 3.6 seconds. It's now down to 3 seconds. He's in clear air. Wonder if that makes the difference. He's no longer fighting anybody. He can just worry about his own running.
I mean, that's certainly going to be a big help there for him. I think he'll be able to push his way up into a better position as now he tries to close down on Austin Reedy. Not have to worry about that dirty air, not have to worry about that aero wash. Still going to be the one problem here, though, is he's going to be about out of the range of the draft. Now, as he comes through the corner, they're going to concertina up a little bit. I think he's going to be close enough to make it work.
Worth noting, Gary Sexton, let's see, he was, what, about 7th or 8th or something like that? He came out ahead of Richard Swavely by 6 seconds. Those fresh tires do mean a lot. Now, granted, he's going to have to pay the piper as Gary's going to be slower later on, and he does need this to stay green for it really to pay off for him. But that's interesting that it does look like those who go in and get tires are going to be lightning quick, but I don't blame the leaders for staying out. They really can't take a gamble on getting stuck a lap down at this stage.
No, they really and truly cannot. It will be absolutely detrimental if they find themselves going down a full lap here at this point. You cannot let that run into the equation.
By the way, top 4, Stempien, Forrester, Reedy, Peel. There is your 4 championship contenders. This has been interesting how the cream continues to rise to the top. Speaking of rise to the top, Stempien going underneath Sean Kalist, who is not in that battle. He's 2 laps down, so he lets them go. And Stempien now starting to pull away from Forrester as well, maybe turning up the wick a little bit, knowing he is going to have to pit, and he needs as much as he can out of it. He might as well use up the tires.
Yeah, I think at this point it is full-on go time here at this point. Try to use up those tires as much as possible. Anything you've got left, put them to the use.
In fact, Gary Sexton does look like he is catching there. 33.3 last lap, Stempien 33.7. So yes, looks like Gary Sexton might be able to unlap himself, but I don't think he's going to be able to do so before Stempien runs out of fuel. Forrester should be able to stay out. We'll see if Colin responds when Stempien does pit in, or if he'll try and hold out and see if he can trap him a lap down. And did Ray Rogers just pit? Yeah, Rogers is coming in, but he's using the pit lane entry. Now, most drivers have been coming down off of 4 and not into 3. This is interesting.
Yeah, that is a little bit strange. I'm not sure what the rules here are for this exact session. I believe that they are able to come in off 4. Now, granted, coming in off 3 is a little bit more difficult. It's going to slow you down a lot more, but you're really not going to run the risk of picking up a pit lane speeding penalty if you do that. That's the counter.
That's true. A lot easier to get the car woed up in time. It's 3 wide down the front stretch there. That's Kalist with Gary Sexton and Austin Reedy. Now, Reedy and Peel are fighting for position, but Sexton and Kalist are not. Sexton is trying to get his lap back and is now all of about 5 seconds away from doing so. Actually, less than that.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of that battle back and forth that you have to deal with when you've got drivers on alternate pit strategies. I'm still waiting here at this point, though, to see when we are going to have Stempien come down into pit lane, because it cannot be too much longer.
He and Logan Sturgeon are on the same strategy, but I think those are the only 2. I don't see anybody else that pitted at the time they did. As down through 1 and 2, Peel and Reedy now fighting for the 3rd position. Peel knows that he's got more laps on fuel than Reedy does, so I suspect he's not going to fight this one with too many risky moves, although the car is feeling it. I could see him wiggling there in the middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, I could see that wiggle as well. That's not what he wants to have happen here at this point. There again. Whoa! Big slap on the wall there for the number 12.
That's not what he needs, is the car running out of it. Down to 21 laps to go. You said earlier, 20 to go marks the go time for most of these drivers, but it will probably mark pit time for Stempien, who still stays out yet another lap. He's on lap 68. Some of these were under caution, but not many. I'm a bit surprised he's been able to pull it out as long as he has. Here goes Peel, this time down to the inside.
Down to the inside here as they go, trying to see what he is able to get done.
Oh, caution. Caution is out. It is Wyatt Brackett on the backstretch. This is another case of turn 2 biting, but I think... Oh, no, he did lose it on his own. Nearly took out Brad Fulham, though. There it is right there. That's him just about running into Brad. I think he doesn't hit the wall, but he stopped in a dangerous spot. So iRacing decided it was worth throwing. No, he did have huge contact, actually. I missed that from my angle. And that pancakes the side of the car in a big way. Stempien is saved by the bell. He is able to come in and take a pit stop and not have to lose time under green flag racing.
Lucky, lucky driver there at that point. Steven Stempien, 19 laps to go. And as you said, Joe, saved by the absolute bell.
So I got to think we're going to see everybody come in. I mean, Peel could stay out. I just don't think it'd be wise right now. 47 lap old tires. He's got to come in.
Yeah, I think the right call is to come in, and it looks like indeed they're all going to come down on into pit lane.
Gary Sexton gets his lap back. He stays out. Let's see, anybody going to stay out on the lead lap here? Doesn't look like it. Everybody coming in. And yeah, no gamblers. Everybody's going to go for the fresh rubber.
I think that's the right call. I mean, you saw how Lawson Peel was able to absolutely carve up through the field, Joe. This is 100% the right call. Come in, get 4 sets of fresh Goodyear tires, head back out on the track, and decide it out there.
Peel doesn't jump them this time, although it was close. Your order is Stempien, Forrester, Peel, Reedy. Pretty close to how they came in, with Zach Wilson coming out behind him. And, oh, Forrester actually goes in front of Stempien.
I wonder if that was an issue, maybe crossing over pit lane there, if Forrester was just a little bit ahead.
I don't know if we've got an overhead of the pit exit, but it was millimeters between them at the line. I didn't realize it was as close as it was. Stempien just about snatched it up from him, but couldn't quite do it. Yeah, here we go. Watch this. That pole position gave Forrester the chance to gun it out of pit lane and be on it and get that top spot. It is always an advantage having that first pit spot.
Yeah, it certainly is at this point, and there you go. Absolutely brilliant stuff there from Forrester, just playing out to his absolute perfection.
Okay, so, well, he's got the spot, but now can he hold Stempien behind? That's the big question. Forrester thinks he's quick on the short run. He's only going to have to do, what is this, going to be about 15 laps under green?
Yeah, I think that's about right. We've got 17 to go. Lights are still on, so I think it should be about 15 to go.
Yep, so that's assuming they stay green on this one. I'm not certain that's going to be the case. I imagine all hell is going to break loose now, because not only do we have drivers fighting for the championship, we have drivers who are fighting for championship positions, who still want to try and do what they can back there. And then, of course, there are those that don't care whether or not one of those 4 win this race. They just want to finish on a high note and take the victory.
Yeah, they just want to be able to take the best that they can here at this point. So, you've got so many conflicting things here at this point for these drivers. How are they going to sort themselves out? What do they want to do? And you've got to think about some of the drivers here at this point that are farther back down in the field that can go for this win, but know that they've got the championship hopefuls right up at the front.
Wave arounds for those that were put a lap down. They'll get back out there. Looks like that ploy did not work for them, unfortunately. So close in the case of Gary Sexton. He could see himself getting back on the lead lap when that yellow came out. So that's got to be frustrating for him. I doubt he's going to be able to charge through the field on tires that have quite a few laps on them in comparison at this stage. He's probably going to be at a severe disadvantage. Here is everybody getting ready for the restart. Who knows what kind of butterflies they're feeling right now, knowing that these are the last laps of the season. Been working hard all year long to come down to this point, and for at least 4 of them, it is now to decide who gets to claim bragging rights for the entire year. Here we go. We come out of turn 4, and the pace car should release Colin Forrester, who should be able to decide when they accelerate once they reach the start zone. There it is, and the green flag is out. He gets on the loud pedal. Bit of a checkup there for Stempien, who gets a bump from the 12. Peel has been aggressive when he needs to be. What does he do here, starting from the back of this group?
Well, he's going to hold down on that low line, about a half a lane lower there than Steven Stempien. They're going to get a good run off of the corner. Looks like they're going to be able to make a play on Austin Arita. We got contact there behind.
Surely this is going to be a yellow, and there it is. The 75 turned into a spin. That's Charles Phelps. Not sure who started it, though. looks like that may have been involved with him at the start. I think he got some help. I think the 48 of Muscarella may have gotten into the back of Charles.
All right, well, let's take a look here at this. Yep, a little bit of a tip there for Muscarella, and then Chuck Phelps, unfortunately, just an absolute ping-pong ball up through the field there, off many, many cars, and that is what will bring out the yellow flag here.
No doubt felt that one. So he gets sent down to pit lane to try and take repairs, and we re-rack, and we'll have even fewer laps to go. I didn't see how many other cars were involved in that incident as well. Definitely a few making contact, but anybody else? No, nobody else, I think, going in. I think they figure they are clean enough. They might as well stay out on track.
Yeah, I think at this point, you're probably not going to want to come down back into pit lane. It's just going to cost you too much, Joe, and that's the unfortunate truth.
Still, those same four are your top four: Forrester, Stempien, Reedy, and Peel. Stempien was not able to pass him in that. In fact, I think they're still in the exact same order they restarted there. Looks like we got a few drivers that are going to try and take some repairs. Knighton, Bland, Reeves is in, Aaron Adcock. If not, this could be a ploy to take some fresh tires, hoping that it'll get them something if they're already right at the bottom and they've got nothing to lose. But this definitely causes a shakeup here, because now you're going to have drivers on differing strategies. You're going to have people who are even more eager to try and get up to the front, which will increase the likelihood of full course cautions. So these drivers will have to make track position a priority, especially if we go into overtime when we run out of those green-white checkers. You need to be ahead of your rivals.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think some of these drivers probably banking a little bit on that here at this point. I think for most of the fans here in the stands and watching at home that we would hope to be able to run this clean and green to the end, but you never know how these races can play themselves out. Looks like here at this point, though, we should be back to green flag racing. I've got to imagine here probably with about 11 laps to go if those lights come off this time around.
And it looks like they do not, so I think it's going to be 10 to go when we will finally go racing here. Also worth noting that the attrition rate has actually been quite low. We've only lost Miranda, Progar, Brackett. Judd Danielson's been taking repairs for more than half an hour, so I suspect he's pretty much done. Ray Rogers also has been in there for nearly 11 minutes now. And then poor Charles Phelps with that last accident has been sitting taking extensive repairs, so he might be done. We'll see if he's got enough time left in this race that he can return, but he's going to be many laps down when he does. Even still, impressive with 34 starters that so few have fallen victim, and we still have a lot of drivers left to bring this home to the end. But this time by for sure, we should get the lights out and we will be on our way.
Yeah, we should be able to get going here at this point. Here they go. Let's see how this is going to shake itself out. This is going to be absolutely fantastic to see how this is going to run here, Joe.
All right, so getting themselves lined up. Looking back, I still would say Ross Harlow is the one to watch out for. Anybody else in that top group that you're looking at outside of the top four, DJ, that you think could be a concern?
Harlow is the one that at this point that I would say could play a little bit of spoiler here. We've talked about him multiple times over the course of the broadcast, how he looks particularly strong. I think he is the one that could play spoiler to the rest of this field.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. We've seen Warren Kyle Keith be strong at certain stages of this season. He's sitting in 8th. Maybe got to keep an eye on him. Muscarella sometimes finds himself in the thick of it, but today, boy, he's been a wild card. It depends on what he's got here at the end. He's going to be restarting from 12th position, so maybe watch out for him. But for the most part, is that number 5 that could be a bit of one that is going to try and slice through and take the win away from our top 4. Here we go as we now enter into 3 and 4. Forrester, Stempien, Reedy, Peel, your top 4, all the ones eligible for the championship. here tonight, and they are going to have to decide it in the next 10 laps, hopefully, unless we go into green-white checkers. There goes the pace car, and there goes the green flag. The 31 with a big jump. In fact, Austin Reedy on the bottom is going to be able to potentially take this second place away, and Ross Harlow is going to try and follow him through into third.
Yes, he is. It just looks like there that the 81 of Steven Stempien didn't get the run that he wanted to up on the high side. Harlow indeed going to play a little bit of spoiler there. We're through, turned through cleanly. A little bit of a bump here, though. It looks like from Stempien coming to the back of the 96 of Reedy, trying to push him along.
Reedy got loose there off of turn 2, and now trying to duck underneath for 3, almost 4 wide. Stempien going to try and put himself in the middle. Here's Lawson Peel pushing him forward, almost getting him into the back of the car ahead. Stempien going to dive down low. He wants no part of that.
He wants no part of that. And what that has allowed me to do here at this point, all this battling farther back in the pack, it's letting Colin Forster just run away with this. He's got a gap of about 3 car lengths up at the front of the field.
Big run on the outside for the 12. They're trying to keep up with Forrester. Harlow still in that P2. Reedy just in front of them in third. It's going to be 8 to go at the line as they fly off the corner. Once again, 3 wide there. Stempien versus Reedy versus Peel.
And there they go down into the corner. That's the number 12 of Peel being a little bit aggressive. Really wanted to take that line away from Steven Stempien. The 96 of Reedy up on the high side. Contact there between Stempien and Peel. Just a little bit of a fender pump there coming out of 2.
Reedy with a launch off of turn 2. Flies ahead of both of them. Forrester said he likes the short runs. This is about as short as it gets at 10 laps. But underneath him, he's got Ross Harlow. Does he fight him for the win? Harlow is not a determining factor in the championship. He can win this race, and it doesn't matter to the 31.
Well, remember here that Forrester likes to run that higher line. He's been doing it over the course of this entire race. He's going to let it looks like Harlow take the lead, gets a monster run coming off of 2. Could we see a little bit of a slide jump coming down through 3?
No, he's going to stay behind him. He lets Harlow go. Forrester now into second. This means Peel is now directly behind him as we ride on board with Lawson. Down to 6 to go at the line now, and Lawson looks fast.
Lawson looking very, very fast here as they come across the line. Is he going to send a little bit of a move up into the inside? Going to look down to the low side here as they run. Pokes his nose, but I think momentum is going to stay on the side here of Colin Forrester coming off of 2.
This is where it turns up for Forrester. He can let Harlow go. He can't let Peel go. Peel now getting to the inside of him. He's going to send it down into turn 3. Drifts up a little bit. The 31 going to give him space, and he's going to push his way through. Peel going to get second place as a brush of the wall for the 31 shows he is on the ragged edge.
He is pushing this car as hard as it will go here at this point, and Austin Reedy sitting there loving to see all of this. Steven Stempien a little bit far back as well, but here it is as now Reedy tries to line it up and get a good run off of the corner.
Forrester could not hold him back. Now it's Lawson Peel who has control of the championship. He sits behind Harlow in that second place, but he is the first among the top 4. They come around out of turn 4, down to 4 laps to go. Stempien looking like he is fading fast here in this last run.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there to Steven. He's looked so good over the course of this. He just doesn't have it here at this point. And granted, we haven't seen that car really control a lot in dirty air. I wonder if he's just not used to driving it in that condition.
That's a good point. I wonder if this is not ideal for him. Reedy's trying the high side. He's doing what he can. He knows he's got to do something different to those around him to try and take these positions. He sits in third out of those top 3, 4th overall. And will he be able to catch up to them this time? No, as they come down to 3 laps to go now. It doesn't look like it's working for the 96. Forrester is hanging tough with the 12, but he hasn't been able to get any overlap.
Hasn't been able to get any overlap here at this point. 3 laps to go. He keeps running that high side, but it just looks like Lawson Peel's been able to make the lower line work. He's about equidistant, though, in between Peel and Reedy is Forrester.
Warren Kyle Keith is down at the bottom of the track. He's off the racing line. I think he's going to try and bring it out of harm's way, and we should be okay. We're staying green. Ross Harlow leads now down with 2 laps to go. Lawson Peel currently in the championship winning position. Of all the 20 races, it comes down to this. Peel, Forrester, Reedy, and Stempien.
And Forrester got a good run there coming down into 1, gets an even better run coming into 2. He's closed that down from about 4 or 5 car lengths down to about a car length and a half coming into 3.
Now suddenly the 31 looking a lot stronger, looking at the high side. We saw him pull this move before. Elena, and the yellow flag is out. We are going into overtime. Who caused it? I'm trying to find it here.
I see Parker Bland coming down into pit lane, Joe. I wonder if that may be a result of it.
I'm checking around, and Parker was down on the road course. Was that somebody on the backstretch there? I do not see what in the world. So Parker maybe has a moment here. Oh, yep. That might have been it right there.
Well, it looks like he was able to keep the car out of harm's way here at this point, and I wonder if just coming across the track here at some point maybe triggered it, and that's what brought out the yellow. But as you said, Joe, we are in overtime here at this point. Thankfully, don't have to worry about fuel strategy for any of these drivers. 18 laps on this tank of fuel. They all should be good to go.
Here's the wild thing. They were probably a good couple hundred feet from that race-going official. If they had gotten that white flag, we would have stayed green no matter what happened there on the backstretch. But now it's going to reset, and they'll get 2 extra laps to try and decide this, which brings guys like Stempian and Reedy back into the fray. Remember, they were starting to look like they were losing touch. This is, I think, bad news for Peel and Forrester, because now they've got more complications.
Yeah, indeed they do. And don't forget here at this point, Ross Harlow actually the one leading the race here at this point. And if he gets a little bit of a bad run, bottles up that lower lane, that's going to put the likes of Peel and Reedy, or excuse me, the likes of Forrester and Stempian down in the order. And it could give this over to Colin Forrester and, it could give this over to Lawson Peel and Austin Reedy. So this is just absolute wild card bonanza. I love it, Joe.
Gotta say, I am impressed with Ross Harlow. I mean, almost kind of playing possum in a way that whole race. He was hovering around, but we did not see him shoot to the front that entire time. And now suddenly, here he is, and it looks like none of them can hang.
Yeah, I mean, very, very impressive run here. You cannot deny that by any stretch of the imagination.
Lights are still on, so we still need a lap to come around and then get the 1-to-go signal. This is the unfortunate side of this, is it does slow things down for a little bit, but this also builds the anticipation, and the drivers not only find themselves having to wait longer, but also they don't have the adrenaline pumping during green flag racing, DJ. Now they have time to sit and think about things. It's probably the last thing they want right now.
Yeah, they certainly do not want to be able to have to think about it. I think they all would have much, much preferred to be able to run this green to the end and just kind of let the adrenaline play it out. Now you've got to think about it. You got to go back. You got to plan out your strategy. Not what they want to do.
We're down to 26 cars left on the racetrack here for this restart. Remember, they will get 3 tries at this green-white checkers. If you're not familiar with NASCAR, what will happen here is once they get doubled up, they will come back around, take that green flag, 2 laps to the checkers. Now, first lap, if they get another yellow, then it will reset. They'll try another green-white checkers. If they stay green and go past the line to take the white flag, the race will not go back to yellow flag conditions. It will finish out no matter what wrecks we see, and they will race to the finish line. So the first goal here is to get to that white flag, which sounds easy, but as we've seen a lot of previous races over various series, DJ, sometimes it's easier said than done to make that 1 green flag lap.
Very, very true. And if it gets a little bit squirrely there coming through, particularly off of turn 2, it's a big danger zone that we've seen over the course of this race. We could see another green-white checker situation have to be employed.
So coming up from outside of the front row, Ross Harlow getting ready to try and wrap it up with a win here. Let's not forget Brandon Banks here sitting in 7th on this restart. Started 32nd on the field. Garrett Brown started 25th on the field. These guys have done great work to climb up through the order, looking at a potential top 10. Might not be a win, depending on how things go, but I'd say they're looking at something to be proud of. Here we go. Lights are off on the pace car. It is in. Ross Harlow looks to complete 2 more laps, and the green flag is out as he accelerates away. They plunge down into turn 1. Lawson Peel versus Colin Forrester. Peel on the outside, Forrester on the inside. Who's got the pace?
Well, Forrester looked a little bit squiggly there. It looked like he wanted to try to shut the door a little bit on Lawson Peel, but just wasn't able to necessarily do it. Now Peel's going to get the run on the high side.
Which lane is it going to be? We know that the 31 likes to be about middle up, and he's going to make sure that the 12 can't pinch him down to the bottom. Meanwhile, here comes Stepien down on the very bottom side. Will we get to that white flag and make this one official? We do. The 5 crosses the line, and he's looking to try and run away. 3-way fight for the championship, though. Stepien, Peel, and Forrester, with Peel going way up to the high side.
And that Stepien super down low. It looks like he gets the Ben Rosen off the corner. Contact there. That's Stepien and Peel into the wall.
And that puts Reedy down to the inside. He has to gather the car up. It is now Lawson Peel way ahead of everybody else. In second place, it falls right into his lap. The current reigning champion follows Ross Harlow home. Ross Harlow will win this race, but Lawson Peel will be the champion for the second time.
Absolutely fantastic end of that race. You hate to see those drivers go out like that, but my goodness gracious, Joe, that is why we come to Homestead, Miami.
Unbelievable. All 3 of the other drivers involved in that last incident, and it basically gifted it to Lawson Peel in the end. And when I asked if he'd win a smile, there you can see, shaking his head, can't believe how that unfolded as he'll get ready to celebrate coming down to the front stretch, getting some bumps from his rivals in congratulation as he approaches the start-finish line. Here we go. This is your Sunoco winning moment, as more high-performance racing engines rely on Sunoco's race fuels than all others combined. For over 50 years, Sunoco has been fueling the top race car drivers around the world with high-quality performance fuels they can trust to power them to the checkered flag. Sunoco, fueling victories from track to tank. Celebrating with him is Ross Harlow, who will get the win. That'll be at least some crumb of comfort for him, since he couldn't vie for the championship itself, as off goes Lawson Peel to take a victory lap. Here is also another winning moment of this race. DJ, talk us through it.
Well, this was just a little bit of miscommunication up on the high side here with Colin Forrester and Steven Stepien and Reedy. They're coming up from behind. You see the wiggle out of the 31 here at that point as they come down in. It looks like it's going to be advantage here to Lawson Peel as Forrester gets a really, really good launch into the corner, but that momentum up on the high side going to carry Lawson Peel around, and then this is where it all just starts to get a little bit sketchy. Stepien down to the low side, ready to take that away. That's the kind of aggression you have to have coming into the final part of this race. Almost contact there between himself and Forrester. And then as they come out of the corner, Peel just trying to stick up high. And that was right there. You could see it. Forrester just drifting up the track, picking up understeer, and nowhere left for him to go.
And there cruises the 12. I don't think he even cared that the 5 beat him to the win. He was probably so thrilled to be able to clinch it there on that last lap. So we're going to be thrilled to talk to them in a bit. Before that, though, we're going to take a quick break. Stick around because the unofficial results as well as driver interviews for the Sunoco Cup Series are coming your way.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Fuller. Yeah. Needed F-150 for Smith build.
Got it.
Yesterday.
I know.
Don't forget my BMW.
Gotcha. Check this out. All the major online automotive sites in one place. BMW, done. F-150, done.
How's he do it?
I can search nationwide, even those classified sites. Auto Tempest, all the cars, one search. That's how I do it.
There is Max Papis in the Ferrari. As great a race as Ferrari has ever had.
Steering wheel for me has always been a sensitive spot. There's a whole experience there that we're all trying to refine. Max Pappas, he asked me one day, he said, what can I do in a wheel? I said, well, with the new.
What's up, Doug? Hi, Cheryl. What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Welcome back to Homestead, Miami Speedway. The season finale of the Sunoco Cup Series saw Ross Harlow take the win here in the unofficial results as Lawson Peel took second and claimed the championship in the postseason. Zach Wilson got himself a podium, honestly a little bit overlooked in all the action that was happening. And then Gary Sexton did come back for a fourth. I thought he was out of this. Remember, he was a lap down earlier on with about 10 laps to go or so. Joseph Mahar finished in fifth as Garrett Brown was P6, and then Colin Forrester, the first of our other drivers in the championship hunt, had to settle for seventh. Stempien was behind him in eighth, and Reedy wound up in ninth. Justin Erb rounds out your top 10.
It was the Nitro Motorsports driver of Kip Easley that came home in 11th, followed by Fast Bananas Curtis Kelly. Then in 13th, it was Brad Fulham, Richard Swavely, and Bill Schoonover to round out your top 15. Casey Knighton was in 16th, followed by Aaron Adcock. Series organizer Dakota Curtis in 18th, James Kunkel 19th. Sean Kalis rounds out your top 20.
Jesse Whittington was 21st, followed by Travis Stevens in 22nd, and it was Logan Sturgeon P23 and Alex Muscarella in the 24th spot. Brandon Banks got the car back out there, finished 25th, and Dustin Reeves 26th. Last to finish this race. Everybody else, unfortunately, a DNF at the end of this one out of our 34 starters. First up, we're going to be talking to our race winner, Ross Harlow. Ross, congratulations, wrapping things up with a win, but tell us, how much were you playing possum during the race itself? Because at no point did we see you burst into the lead like that during the regular racing, and then suddenly at the end, you were a rocket ship.
You know, I was just taking care of the thing, trying to ride around and learn some stuff. I really didn't have a lot of laps this week on the earlier track, so I really didn't know what I had, and by the time I did, I just wasn't able to make anything of it. The tires were too worn out. Was competitive all night for sure. Had a really good setup, had a really good car. It wasn't. I knew it wasn't going to be properly under me until the very end, though.
I mean, speaking of the very end, you come within sight of the white flag and the yellow comes out. What's going through your mind then?
Oh, it was just, thinking about that next restart. Do I want to go early? Do I want to, wait a little bit? Do I want to play some games? Maybe coming through 3 and 4, or just thinking about that next restart. A lot of frustration, of course. I could damn near see the line for to take the white flag when that thing came out. But had still a lot of confidence at that point. I knew that I was going to be faster at the end for sure, and I think that showed pretty well.
Well, you were very high up in the raw points, even though you weren't part of the Final Four. You come off the season with another win. What does this tell you about next season? Is this okay? This is my good chance to carry momentum and go and fight for the championship next time out.
Yeah, I think so. It's just it's exactly that. All gonna be about carrying that momentum, carrying that confidence into next season. It's my last race with Sega Keith Motorsports, and that so it's bittersweet, right, to get that last win. For Warren and that, and he's a damn good friend of mine, Warren, Justin, all those guys. But so it's it's gonna be interesting. Gonna have new teammates, but still a lot of confidence. Gonna be a real good time next season for sure.
No doubt about that. Congratulations, Ross, and go celebrate the win.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. Thank you to Till Valhalla Project, G&G's Gift, Mission 22, Team Watson Racing Setups. Again, all my teammates at SKM and TOW. Thanks to all you guys up in the booth, of course. You put on a hell of a show. Thank you to the admins for the Sunoco Cup Series. And, of course, thank you to Mom, Dad, and little brother. And biggest thank you in the world to my fiance. I couldn't do this without her. So it's a long list, but it takes a village, right?
Absolutely. So there was Ross in the number 5 taking the win from the front row today. Next up, though, third place was Zach Wilson. DJ's caught up with the sneaky man into the podium.
I have indeed, Zach. We feel bad, my friend. You kind of snuck under the radar on us, but an absolute mega drive here today.
Yeah, man, it's just a little bit of luck there with those playoff guys getting into each other, just going for that championship out of 2. We had a strong car all night. I think we stayed right around the top 5, but I think I had something for on the long run, but not much there on the short run. I had figured out the shifting deal there the last 8 laps. I hadn't been shifting all night. Hated that caution come out. We were good to the end. I had saved enough fuel that I was one lap to the good there on that long run. But overall, it was a really fun night. Congrats to Lawson on the championship. Congrats to Ross for the win. Prayers out to James Kunkel and his family tonight. This sneaky top 3's for Mario Miranda. I know he loves this one.
Well, talk to me a little bit about the strategy here. I mean, just kind of keeping up in the top 10. Was that just sort of the goal here all night and just driving to that point?
Yeah, it's a lot about tire conservation. Some of those guys wanted to really run that high line, and later on in the run, they were able to shift and really hang on the outside. But if you're able to clear them on the bottom, you could really get going. I know when I was able to run the line I wanted to run, it felt like it was a lot faster, but a lot of good hard racing out there tonight. Overall, it was really a lot of fun. I'm glad we were able to put on a heck of a show.
Well, you guys certainly did that. Now, I've got to ask you, coming into next season, as we start to think about it here, never too early to think about it, what are your goals going into that?
Yeah, we're just going to try to get another win in the regular season like we did this year to get ourselves locked in the playoffs and really push for some playoff points and stuff. So, unfortunately, due to some family vacations and things, I missed a couple rounds there in the playoffs. So, hopefully we'll come back and be fighting for a championship again next year.
Well, I wish you all the luck in the world, my friend. Anybody you'd like to thank for the run here tonight?
Yeah, just a huge shout out to sponsor Team Watson Racing Setups. They allow me to run their stuff on this car. We went with a little goofier scheme tonight with the Cougar on the hood and everything. So it was a lot of fun. Huge shout out to the league, Sunoco. Thanks them coming on as our presented sponsor this year. So thank you to you guys putting on this great show as well.
All right. Well, thank you, Zach. And that was, again, Zach Wilson, your third place runner here tonight. And Joe, you've been able to catch up with P2, top of the standings at the end of the season, Mr. Lawson Peel.
Lawson, congratulations, champion again. But talk about that final restart. 3 wide battling coming into the last lap and even came down to a little bit of contact between cars. Talk us through it.
Man, I don't even know where to begin. I didn't want to do those restarts in the first place, but I had no choice. And, I mean, you guys saw the first lap after restart like that, you just slide, man. I mean, like me and Colin were side by side. I think we were both just sliding our fronts. And he didn't clear me down in 3 and 4. I thought he may clear me, and being able to stay on his outside was what I needed. And then when we went 3 wide there, I knew I was going to put it right on the wall. And that was either going to win me the race or lose me the race, because I knew Stimpian was either going to clear me and come up in front of me, or I would come off there with a huge run. And by a thin margin, I cleared past them when Colin kind of lost it in the middle there. So nerve-wracking. I'm letting out a big sigh of relief, man. It was not easy there at the end. I mean, that wasn't what I wanted to have to do. I had it on that long run, man. They were going to run out of gas. I don't even think, if they weren't going to run out of gas, I think I had it. I mean, I was going to pass both of them. And I wasn't happy when we had those cautions, but man, it all worked out. And I'm pumped, man. That's 2 in a row. That one was, that finish last year was dramatic, but this one topped it for sure. So feeling really good, and really happy right now.
Yeah, I can see why it really topped it. But you talk about knowing that you had the strategy for it, considering you had to pivot and race them for it. Do you feel like that just kind of reinforces your own ability, your skill? Do you feel sort of an emotional boost knowing that you rolled with the punches and you beat them no matter what?
So I know you guys have heard me talk about how much I love this track, and I've just historically done really, really well here, especially on the long runs. But this car and this package we got right now, it gets a little loose on the long runs, and that's different than what we've had here in the past. And you guys saw in that second stage, I really, really struggled. I was battling with Steven hard there for the lead, and I just burned my stuff right up, and wasn't good. Steven was just so solid and consistent over, the whole course of the run, from new tires to old tires. And I'm not going to lie, there was definitely a point right there in the middle. I was pretty discouraged. I just didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. And when we got into that third stage, Steven and I stayed out, and then we had another caution, which put us in our fuel window, and had no choice but to come in and put yourself in the fuel window, right? I mean, Joe was spotting for me tonight. I really appreciate him. Thanks for what he did. And Brandon was also giving me a lot of support. So thank you to them. But I mean, we were all talking about it. And, we knew that was the right call, but, going from the lead to 24th is just never an easy thing to do. So coming all the way back up there to P3 on that run was a big confidence boost, because I just really took care of my tires really nicely that run. And I did exactly what I needed to do to put myself in position to win that race if we didn't get any of those late race cautions. And we did, but managed to persevere through it. So.
Well, we heard from Ross a little bit earlier. He said it takes a village. What village helped put you in victory lane?
Drinking Bros Racing, man. Paul set up shop. Everybody here at in the Sunoco Cup Series, all you guys at Podium, y'all are mighty kind to me on your broadcast, and I just really enjoy watching them. And I'm getting right off to watch it here when I get done. So, everybody that wished me congratulations and supported me, sent me messages in the Twitch chat. But all my teammates, man, they're just the reason why we do this, man. Just it wouldn't be any fun without them. So I really appreciate everybody that's played a part.
Indeed. Well, again, congratulations. Go enjoy another championship and relax in the off season.
Appreciate it.
Lawson, Peel, and DJ, we wanted drama. We wanted this to be a good race. I'd say we got it.
We got it absolutely without question. Also want to give a huge shout out here. I just got a personal message from him, and he pointed something out to me. Joseph Mahar, up 25 positions to come home P5, and that was after getting wrecked at the beginning of the race. I mean, we've got stories here that we couldn't even touch. That's how good this race was here today, Joe.
Yeah, this definitely delivered. So a huge thank you to the league for putting this together for us and bringing us all this awesome action. But we have to close up as well. So we want to thank a few people before we go here. Obviously, a big thank you to Dakota Curtis and all the admins at the Sunoco Cup Series. And thanks to our team tonight, DJ Ryan and Dougie. And of course, our team throughout the season, Kenneth Bueno, Bradley Cooper, and Joey Atterbury. Also, none of this is possible without those behind the scenes of Podium Esports, Ryan Bauer, Gary Sexton, and Sean Theodore. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast of the Sunoco Cup Series. I'm Joe Peak, and I'll see you on the track.